Chapter 1. Founding Konoha Edition Uchiha Madara. Note: the plot setting does not follow Bo. Konoha, outside the gate, despair, clatter. The sound of footsteps came slowly, one step at a time, not far away.
Step by step, he walked closer to the gate of Konoha.
But see, it was a tall figure wearing red armor, black ninja boots, black gloves, and with long flowing hair that reached his waist. If the first Hokage, Senju Hashirama, was here, he would definitely recognize the figure of his former best friend.
But Senju Hashirama is dead, so at this moment no one can recognize this figure in red armor. Who is it?
Ta-da-da. The tall figure was still slowly walking towards the gate of Konoha from the distance, step by step. During this time, the gentle breeze continued to slowly blow the long, black, fluffy hair, making the long hair sway in the wind. It seemed to foreshadow that what was going to happen next would break all the peace of the past few decades. Wait, who are you? You're not from Konoha, right? Please register your personal information. When the tall figure in red armor finally arrived at the gate of Konoha. The two great gate gods of Konoha, Gangzi Tai and Shenyu Izumo. To this, the tall figure in red armor lowered his head slightly with a gloomy look, and after hearing their words, he sneered contemptuously. Then, under the somewhat puzzled gazes of Gangzi Tai and Shenyu Chuyan. Clang, the other party raised his head slightly, and instantly revealed a pair of 3 Magatama scarlet pupils. In an instant, the moment they came into contact with that pair of scarlet eyes, Gangzi Tai and Shenyu Chuyan immediately seemed to be stunned. All of a sudden, everyone was stunned on the spot. Ta-da-da. The figure in red armor ignored the two door gods. He continued to walk towards Konoha and the village step by step without any hurry or haste. After he completely entered Konoha, the two people behind him just woke up as if they had just woken up from a dream. Then, how did we get out? Gangzi Tai and Shenyu Chuyan looked at each other in confusion. They all looked confused. Obviously, the two of them had completely forgotten what had just happened. So, they also don't know whether there are any registered people who have entered Konoha. Now, it seemed to be noon, time for people to have lunch.
It can be seen that in Konoha, there are quite a few diners seated in the barbecue restaurants and other restaurants at this moment.
Outside the store, civilians and ninjas were coming and going. It symbolizes the prosperity of Konoha, but in this prosperous scene, there was a lonely and cold figure, walking slowly step by step on the wide road. During this time, his deep black pupils observed the comings and goings of people around him and the prosperity of Konoha as a whole, intentionally or unintentionally. He was the man in red armor who just came in from outside the Konoha gate. At this moment, he has already arrived in Konoha village. Then, looking at the scenes around him, it's such a familiar yet strange place. Roman looked at the scene that appeared in his memory and now appeared in front of him. He couldn't help but sigh out loud with a slight smile. Roman, originally, he was from another world. Born in an orphanage with the help of caring people in the society. He studied till high school, but he was really not good at studying, so he dropped out before finishing high school and went out to make a living in society. But how can you find a good job if you haven't even finished high school? In the few years after that world, Roman gloriously became a delivery man serving the people. And the reason why he appeared in this world at this moment and even became a powerful being. It was because while he was delivering the food, he was looking at his phone and not paying attention to the passing vehicles, which led to a serious car accident.
Roman died in a car accident, but was accidentally tied to an incredible and mysterious thing called the achievement sign-in system.
Before the half-dead Roman could figure out what was going on, the sign-in system directly performed the first sign-in for him for free. But unexpectedly signed in, founded Konoha Uchiha Madara combat power template. Since Roman was dying at the time, he could not answer anything. Therefore, the system directly applied the combat power template of founder of Konoha, Uchiha Madara, to him. Even Roman's appearance was transformed into that of Uchiha Madara. Finally, he brought the already dead Roman from his original world to this ninja world. In this way, this is why Roman was standing on the bustling streets of Konoha, watching people coming and going. In fact, Roman doesn't care who he becomes. It was this power that surprised Roman after he woke up and understood everything. Roman spent a few days taking in the extra memories and combat experiences in his mind, and getting familiar with his current body. I also figured out what the so-called achievement sign-in system is like. It allows Roman to sign in once a day. The things you sign in could be anything. No level restrictions. It might allow Roman to rise to fame overnight, or he might get something like a pack of tissues. In the past few days, Roman has signed in for something as eye-watering as a pack of tissues. However, apart from the basic daily check-in, achieve something, for example, defeat, kill or subdue some powerful people. All of these can also allow Roman to gain additional sign-in opportunities. So, he came to Konoha, want to do something, make trouble. And Konoha is just the beginning. Roman, who has now become Uchiha Madara and possesses all the power to create Uchiha Madara during the Konoha period. In his heart, a man's greed for power is growing uncontrollably. Chapter 2, a group of Konoha Jonin in the barbecue restaurant. I saw Roman, who looked exactly like Uchiha Madara, and even wore the same red armor as the one in the anime. At this moment, on the busy streets of Konoha, while walking slowly among the people coming and going. Many Konoha civilians were attracted by Roman's old-style armor from the Sengoku period. Moreover, Uchiha Madara's appearance is also eye-catching enough. This made Roman attract the attention of many passers-by along the way. The return rate is very high, in this regard. Roman, with her waist-length hair swaying in the breeze, ignored the gazes of all passers-by. Only, that's great. Master Tsunade, who was once one of the Sannin, is now the 5th Hokage of Konoha. It is said that Lady Tsunade is the granddaughter of the first Hokage, who is known as the God of Ninja. Although the death of the third-generation leader is sad, the timely succession of the new Hokage is truly a blessing in disguise. But I heard that 5th Hokage-sama was able to return thanks to that demon fox. I heard that it was Uzumaki Naruto and Jiraiya-sama who invited Tsunade-sama back to the village to take over the position of 5th Hokage. Among the people coming and going, the civilians or some ordinary ninjas all seemed happy and a little sentimental. Roman, listening to their words, also knew. It turns out that this is the time in the original drama when the third-generation old man was killed by Orochimaru, and then Senju Tsunade was brought back to the village by the protagonists, Naruto and Jiraiya, to become the 5th Hokage. Hasalama, at this time, because he heard the name of a person from the mouths of the civilians and ordinary ninjas passing by. Roman, subconsciously couldn't help but say the man's name. Senju Hashirama. Roman, the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, in his eyes almost couldn't help but emerge, and a terrifying chakra exploded. Apparently, during the period of transforming into Uchiha Madara's appearance and gaining all of his combat power, Uchiha Madara's memories. It also indirectly had a little impact on Roman. When I heard that man's name, I felt a crazy desire to fight, and I could hardly control myself. But Roman quickly realized that he was Roman, not Uchiha Madara. So, my mood gradually calmed down. I am Ban, not Madara. Also at this time, Roman, with a pair of deep black pupils, saw a scene that interested him. Several familiar figures from the original drama appeared in Roman's sight at this moment. According to the images of them in the cartoons that Roman had seen. Roughly guess and judge, at this moment, what appeared in Roman's sight should be. Akamichi Choza, Nara Shikaku, Yamanaka Hayi, Hataki Kakashi, Might Guy, Yuhi Kurenai, Mitarashi Anko, Yuan Fei Asuma and many other Jonin of Konoha. Especially Hataki Kakashi, the most classic elite Jonin in the original drama. The moment I saw them, Roman almost recognized them. It's almost exactly the same as the image in the original drama. It just turned from an animation into a real person appearing in front of Roman. They didn't seem to see Roman on the road, instead, they went into a barbecue restaurant in front together. Well, it should be that the new Hokage of Konoha has just ascended the throne, so these Jonin who know each other and have a good relationship with each other are planning to get together. I just didn't expect that Kakashi was there too. Interesting, seeing the group of Jonin, both men and women, enter a barbecue restaurant in front, Roman smiled slightly and walked past. Then, he turned around and walked towards the barbecue restaurant. Hey, do you feel that person looks familiar? It does feel strangely familiar, especially the style of the armor he's wearing. I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. That guy is really good looking, but his hair is too long. He looks gloomy. Is he someone who is difficult to approach? He doesn't look like he's from Konoha. Is he a ninja? The civilians on the roadside and some ordinary ninjas passing by looked at Roman, who was wearing red armor and had long flowing hair, and then gradually walked away, and they couldn't help but communicate with each other. The other side, well, I can finally relax. Because of that d Orochimaru, we Jonin have been very busy during this period. Now that Master Tsunade has returned and assumed the position of 5th Hokage, the village is finally functioning normally again. In a corner of the barbecue restaurant, Akamichi Choza, Nara Shikaku, Yamanaka Inoichi, Yuhi Kurenai, Kakashi and others were already sitting together. During this time, Mitarashi Anko, after sitting down, spoke first. During this time, hearing Orochimaru's name, Yuanfei Asuma couldn't help but clench his fists slightly. After all, if it weren't for Cold Lord Orochimaru, one of the legendary Sannin, third-generation old man Yuanfei Hiruzen wouldn't have passed away suddenly. And the old man from third generation is Yuanfei Asuma's dad. On the side, Kakashi, Yuhi Kurenai, Nara Shikaku and others could also understand Asuma's feelings. They also expressed regret for the death of the third generation, but due to a series of incidents following Orochimaru's invasion, they had no time to feel sentimental. Today, because Princess Tsunade finally succeeded as 5th Hokage, the originally tense atmosphere in the village relaxed a little. The Jonin finally had some free time to get together and have a good meal. Afterwards, the waiter at the barbecue restaurant quickly brought over the grilled meat that Kakashi and his friends had ordered. Well, let's not talk about other things for now, let's grill the meat. Mitarashi Anko, seeing the meat coming up, couldn't help but raise her chopsticks and smiled. On the other hand, the Akamichi Choza was grilled even faster. You are faster than me, Mitarashi Anko glanced at Akamichi Dingza, then hurriedly put the meat on the stove. There is a person with a quirky personality like Mitarashi Anko. The atmosphere suddenly became much more relaxed and lively. At the side, the mature and charming Yuhi Kurenai was also looking at her best friend Anko who had a carefree personality, and couldn't help shaking her head and laughing. The meat looks good, do you mind having one more person? Suddenly, among the Konoha Jonin in this corner, an abrupt voice suddenly arose. Chapter 3 Kakashi is shocked. Hearing the sudden sound, Kakashi, Asuma, Might Guy, Yuhi Kurenai, Nara Shikaku, Mitarashi Anko and other Konoha Jonin. They couldn't help but look back in confusion, looking behind them where the voice came from. The next second, I saw a man wearing a black suit, Sengoku-style red armor, black gloves, and a striking head of waist-length hair. I don't know when she was standing behind all the Jonin. During this time, Kakashi, Asuma, Might Guy, Yuhi Kurenai and other Jonin were all shocked. The other party had actually gotten so close without any of the Jonin noticing. How come they don't feel anything at all, if this person is an enemy and wants to attack any of them? Didn't I just, thinking of this, Kakashi and the others, Shunin couldn't help but feel confused and puzzled. At the same time, he looked at the man in front of him curiously. Suddenly, someone appeared behind Kakashi, Yuhi Kurenai and the others. Naturally, it is Roman who has obtained all the power to establish Konoha Uchiha Madara. So, mind adding me? Roman, wearing red armor and with long flowing hair, looked at Kakashi, Might Guy, Asuma, Yuhi Kurenai and others at the table in front of him. He asked again with a faint smile on his face, during this period, I have to say. Madara's appearance is really top-notch when she smiles. Even Shi Rihong couldn't help but secretly admire Roman's appearance. Hey, who are you? We don't want strangers to come and eat and drink for free. At this time, Mitarashi Anko held his chin with one hand and looked at Roman who was standing beside him in red armor. And, speaking of which, when I look at you, I feel inexplicably familiar with you, as if I have seen you somewhere before. Suddenly, Mitarashi Anko looked at Roman and felt that he looked more and more familiar. I feel the same way. On the side, Shihi Kurenai also echoed. Similarly, Asuma, Nara Shikaku, Akamichi Choza, Yamanaka Hayi and other Konoha Jonin all felt that Roman looked inexplicably familiar. It really seems like I've seen it somewhere. It is indeed the same appearance, looks, and clothing as Roman's, Uchiha Madara. Make it look very familiar to them, but for a moment, I couldn't remember where I had seen these Jonin. Really, it seems like there is a special bond between us? Roman said with a faint smile again. In my heart, I was thinking. Will knocking down all of these Konoha Jonin give me an extra sign and opportunity? The strong strength gave Roman great confidence. It makes him look like a man who is playing with the world, ignoring all worldly rules, and looking down on everyone. Oh, I remember now. Just then, Mitarashi Enko suddenly shouted. Then, pointing at Roman, the red armor you're wearing is a replica of the old-fashioned armor from the Sengoku era, right? No wonder he looks so familiar. Mitarashi Enko felt that she had finally found the place on Roman that made her feel familiar. But, on the side, Kakashi was observing Roman. Kakashi felt that what made people feel familiar about Roman was not just the old-fashioned armor on him. Just then, it seems so. I think the huge stone statues of the first Hokage and Uchiha Madara, the predecessor of Uchiha, in the Valley of the End, are wearing this kind of armor, right? After hearing what Mitarashi Enko said, Yuhi Kurenai added this. Just these few words, Kakashi suddenly thought of something. Then, his eyes suddenly looked back at Roman in front of him, and began to compare him with the stone statue of the man he had seen in his memory. However, the more he compared, the more confused Kakashi became. His right eye began to widen a little bit with a hint of surprise. No way. That's impossible. Kakashi, in his heart, began to doubt himself. Period. I see, you seem to like Sengoku's old-fashioned armor from that time. Well, if you don't mind, come sit with me. Shiri Hong, I feel like it's not a good idea to let Roman stand in the aisle all the time. So, after saying a few words casually, he made room for Roman without thinking too much. Ahem. My friend, please sit next to me. Seeing Shiri Hong give up her seat to Roman, Asuma suddenly gave up a seat as well. I really don't want Roman to sit next to Shiri Hong. Okay, thank you. Roman, who had been smiling all the time, nodded slightly at this time. Then, he wanted to go forward and sit down, but suddenly. Etc. Hitaki Kakashi, with an expression of surprise, deep suspicion and even a little disbelief on his face, suddenly stood up and stared at Roman. Roman's movements couldn't help but pause slightly. Who are you? Kakashi, at this point, had a look of alarm on his face. In fact, he was already ready to make seals at any time. Kakashi, at this time, seemed to be facing a formidable enemy. In this way, at the scene, the atmosphere suddenly became inexplicably tense. Hey, Kakashi, although I kind of hate having one more person to share our barbecue, but you don't have to be so nervous, right? Mitarashi Enko felt a little funny looking at the very nervous Kakashi. But she didn't know how surprised, doubtful and unbelieving Kakashi was at that moment. On the side, Asuma, Shikaku, Yamanaka, Choza and other Konoha Jonin were looking at Kakashi, who was suddenly so nervous with some confusion at this moment. Hey, Kakashi, what's wrong with you? Might Guy was a little confused about what his best friend Kakashi meant at the moment. However, Might Guy, who knows Kakashi well, thinks that there must be a reason for Kakashi's defensive behavior at this time. To this, your name is Kakashi, right? Oh. What do you see in me? Roman smiled with interest, and looked at Hitaki Kakashi with his black pupils. Chapter 4. Don't mention that person's name in front of me. You really are. Impossible. That person can't be alive, and he can't be as young as you. Hitaki Kakashi, at this moment, looked at Roman with shock and disbelief in his eyes. Yuhi Kurenai, Asuma, Might Guy, Nara Shikaku and others watched as Kakashi became more and more nervous, even saying something incomprehensible. At this moment, many Jonin were a little confused about what happened to Kakashi. Kakashi. Nara Shikaku felt that Kakashi would not suddenly act so strangely. Therefore, Nara Luju also re-examined Roman, who was wearing red armor and whose sitting action was interrupted. Immediately, etc. Suddenly, it was like a thunderclap sounded in Nara Shikaku's mind. He also became like Kakashi at this moment. With an expression of shock and disbelief, he looked at Roman, who was wearing red armor and had long, smooth hair. Shikaku, why are you like this? Akamichi Choza looked at Shikaku with blank and puzzled eyes, who had the same surprised expression as Kakashi. During this time, Yuhi Kurenai, Mitarashi Enko, Asuma, Yamanaka, and Might Guy also looked confused. Intel. Roman, whose action of sitting down was interrupted by Kakashi, chuckled for no apparent reason at this moment. And, did you recognize it? You too? A pair of black pupils looked at Hitaki Kakashi and Nara Shikaku at this moment. Everyone. Hitaki Kakashi looked at the Jonin around him. It seemed like he wanted to remind them to get ready for battle immediately, at least. We need to be defensive. The person in front of me may be the legendary. Kakashi, what happened between you and Shikaku? Why are you so wary of this strange gentleman? Might Guy scratched his head, but I believe in Kakashi. So, hand over your identity, my friend. The next second, Might Guy suddenly smiled and stared at Roman with his teeth shining. As Kakashi's rival for many years, Might Guy knows Kakashi well enough. Therefore, Might Guy chooses to trust Kakashi unconditionally. Therefore, Might Guy became wary of Roman at this moment. On the side, Yuan Fei, Asuma, Yuhi Kurenai, Shikaku, Yamanaka, Ding Zuo and other Jonin also began to stare at Roman. Only, hey, what the hell are you guys doing? Mitarashi Anko, I still feel like these companions around me are a little weird? Oh, you want to give up your identity? I didn't expect that in just 70 or 80 years, Konoha would completely forget about the people who existed during the Sengoku era. Roman, wearing red armor and with messy hair, had a sneer on his face. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You want to know my name? Sure. In this world, I allow you to call me. Roman had a slightly cold smile on his face and said this to Kakashi, Narashikaku, Might Guy and others in front of him. At this time, Roman had not yet finished speaking. As expected, you are Uchiha Madara. But before Roman could finish his words, Kakashi actually answered Roman in front of him. Roman. Upon hearing this, Mitarashi Anko, who originally felt that Kakashi and the others were a little bit puzzled, was instantly shocked. I couldn't even hold the chopsticks in my hand and dropped them on the table. Yuhi Kurenai, Asuma, Akamichi Choza, Might Guy. Everyone's face was filled with shock and disbelief, and they couldn't help but stand there in a daze for a moment. Even though he had already guessed something about Narashikaku, at this moment, when he heard Roman's words that seemed to half admit his identity. The two of them were still looking at Roman, who was wearing red armor, with eyes full of surprise and doubt. You, Uchiha, Madara, you are, Yuhi Kurenai. At this moment I really couldn't believe the name that Kakashi said on my behalf. But also at this moment, this gesture. Through the name, Uchiha Madara, Yuhi Kurenai finally discovered. The Roman in front of him was extremely similar to one of the two huge stone statues that had always existed in the Valley of the End. I didn't think of that just now, but at this time, in Shirihong's eyes, Roman really looked extremely similar to a stone statue in the Valley of the End. Especially that Sengoku armor and that long, flourishing hair. It's like the stone statue has come alive, at this moment, the stone statue that Shirihong thought of. It is the legendary strongman Uchiha Madara, Roman. Of course, Shirihong was not the only one who thought of this at this moment. Except for Kakashi and Narashikaku who realized it from the beginning. At this moment, Asuma, Might Guy, Mitarashi Anko, Yamanaka Hayi and everyone else thought of this. Then, impossible, the legendary ninja, Uchiha Madara, died in a battle with first Hokage Senju Hashirama many years ago. Yuan Fei Asuma suddenly stood up and denied Roman's identity. Might Guy, Yuhi Kurenai, and Mitarashi Anko also agreed with this. How can the dead be resurrected, however, Rama? Hearing that man's name again, Roman, who had received almost all of Uchiha Madara's memories, was suddenly shocked. At this moment, a terrible fighting spirit and murderous intent erupted uncontrollably from the depths of his memory. Roman, who possesses Uchiha Madara all memories, could not control his murderous intent and fighting spirit the moment he heard the name, Senju Hashirama. Not good, retreat quickly. Kakashi noticed Roman's situation in time and immediately waved and shouted to the others around him. The people on the side were all Jonin level, and their reaction abilities were at least acceptable. Immediately, no matter what was about to happen, everyone listened to the team's orders, retreat. Don't mention that person's name in front of me. Boom, the powerful chakra exploded. In an instant, even though Kakashi and the others retreated in advance, they were still knocked through the walls by the explosive force of the powerful chakra. Ah! Everyone was blown out of the barbecue restaurant and finally landed on the street outside. What a powerful chakra! This level of chakra is unprecedented. After Narashikaku stabilized his body and stood on the street with everyone else, he could not help but exclaim in surprise. On the side, Kakashi, Might Guy, Yuan Fei, Asuma and others were also shocked and extremely solemn. This terrifying amount of chakra. Hey, Kakashi, he can't really be. Might Guy, at this point, looked shocked. In response, Kakashi was already holding a kunai, his face serious to the ultimate level as he stared at the grill that had been shattered by the powerful chakra. At this time, countless diners in the barbecue restaurant ran out of the store in panic. In the end, the boss and his men all ran away. I guess those who didn't know would think it was an earthquake. When most people in the barbecue restaurant had run away. Hasalama, I've already reached the other side. At this time, Roman was almost immersed in Uchiha Madara's memories. Chakra and terrifying pupil power are exploding. Roar, the next moment, followed by a roar. Boom, a blue statue several dozen meters tall, Susanoo Stage 3, broke through the roof of the barbecue restaurant. In the end, he even stepped on the entire barbecue restaurant. Seeing this scene, Kakashi glanced thoughtfully at the kunai in his hand. Chapter 5. Princess Tsunade is surprised and cuts the Hokage rock elephant with one sword. My kunai, facing the dozens of meters tall blue energy giant in front of me. It seems a bit mysterious, Kakashi smiled bitterly in his heart. At the same time, I was also wondering, the legendary strongman, Uchiha Madara. Reappearance in the world, to this, how is it possible? Seeing the dozens of meters tall blue, Susanoo, suddenly appearing in front of them, Yuhi Kurenai, Mitarashi Anko, Nara Shikaku and other Jonin were stunned. At this moment the streets are in chaos, all around, the villagers of Konoha were running around in panic. Indeed, they were all frightened by the sudden appearance of the dozens of meters long blue, Susanoo third stage, stepping on the barbecue restaurant, and they fled in all directions. To this, bang, bang, bang Susanoo, who was several dozen meters tall, took 2 steps forward with heavy footsteps. Then, Roman, dressed in red armor, was seen inside Susanoo's body. He looked at Kakashi, Might Guy, Yuan Fei, Asuma and other Jonin at his feet so coldly. His eyes, Nara Shikaku pointed at Roman, who was standing high in the sky and holding the huge head of Susanoo. Sharingan, the other Jonin looked at Roman above where Nara Shikaku pointed. Suddenly I saw a pair of eyes glowing scarlet light. Mangekyo Sharingan, and this pattern of Mangekyo. He really is the one in the legend. Hatake Kakashi, at this time, frowned and looked at Roman's eyes inside Susanoo's head in the sky, and then spoke with a heavy heart. At the same time, what happened? At the Hokage building, Senju Tsunade was just processing documents. Suddenly, I heard a sound similar to an explosion and a small earthquake. I couldn't help but stand up and look out the window of the Hokage building in confusion. Next second, Nani, Princess Tsunade was looking out the window, and at this moment, she looked surprised. That is, Grandpa and Second Grandpa said that Susanoo, can it be done? Why did you suddenly appear in the village? Princess Tsunade spoke in confusion, also at this time. Oink oink, several Enbu ninjas instantly arrived at the Hokage building. Hokage-sama, an enemy is invading Konoha. Several Enbu ninjas knelt on one knee and reported to Princess Tsunade at the desk. Of course, Tsunade can now see what's happening outside by herself. Who is the other party? Looking back at the Enbu ninjas, Tsunade Haim asked sharply. To this, I don't know where it came from yet, but it looks like the ancient armor he's wearing is from the Sengoku era. Enbu ninja answers, armor from the Sengoku period? Tsunade was stunned. Then, he looked outside again. Next moment, wait, this is the blue Susanoo with 2 faces and 4 arms. This is not the legendary one who once fought with Grandpa in the Valley of the End. This is impossible. Bang, Princess Tsunade suddenly became inexplicably excited and smashed the desk next to her with one punch. She thought of a possibility that she couldn't believe. But Tsunade didn't want to admit that it was true. It must be just a coincidence. Tsunade told herself this at this moment. But, Hasalama, Roman's roar was deafening and full of murderous intent. At the same time, the giant blue Susanoo with 2 legs suddenly clenched its giant hand, and a chakra knife instantly condensed in its hand, and it swung it fiercely. Boom! The terrifying blade light instantly cut the first Hokage rock carved on the rock wall in the distance into 2 halves. Even the image of the 2nd generation and 3rd generation nearby was shattered. This power, Princess Tsunade and a group of Enbu ninjas who had already left the Hokage building couldn't help but click their lips. The power of this sword is no less than that of an S-level ninjutsu. He is calling my great-grandfather's name. Who is he? At this moment, Senju Tsunade couldn't help but feel surprised. Now, what a terrible destructive power. Not far away from the giant blue Susanoo, Might Guy now exclaimed with a serious look on his face. The Hokage rock statue of Shodai, and other Hokage-samas. Kurenai exclaimed in surprise as she looked at the Hokage rock statue that was split in the middle of the mountain wall in the distance. Anko, you must immediately report the situation here to the 5th Hokage, Master Tsunade, and tell her that an enemy who may be the legendary ninja, Uchiha Madara, has appeared in the village at this moment. Let us block this place first. At this time, Hitaki Kakashi glanced at Yuhi Kurenai and Mitarashi Anko. Then, Shikaku, Hiei, Hong, evacuate and protect the surrounding villagers. Then, Guy, Asuma, and Choza, we must stop this big guy in front of us. Kakashi continued to speak quickly to the other Jonin around him as if giving an order. Then, Earth style, he quickly formed seals with his hands, and then Kakashi pressed his hands on the ground. Boom! Suddenly, a huge earth wall rose from the ground and covered the huge blue Susanoo in the middle. Hey, I don't care who's in front of me, bloom with youth. 8 inner gates. 6th gate. Open. Might Guy has opened the 8 inner gates directly to the 6th gate. I just wanted to have a good barbecue, why did things become so serious for no reason? On the side, Mitarashi Anko couldn't help but complain aloud, but the next second he instantly ran towards the Hokage building. Meanwhile, several Jonin including Yuhi Kurenai, Nara Shikaku, Yamanaka Hiei and others also scattered immediately. He also began to release ninjutsu towards the huge blue Susanoo, or to protect and evacuate the villagers in all directions. To this, watching the huge earth wall falling towards me first. Oh, inside the huge Susanoo Stage 3 head, Roman opened his Mangekyo Sharingan and smiled coldly with disdain. Then, oink oink, there were 3 more huge chakra knives, condensed in Susanoo's other 3 big hands. Suddenly it turned into 4 arms holding 4 huge chakra knives. Then, shua, boom, 4 swords slashed towards the surroundings at the same time. Immediately, the huge earth wall was chopped into pieces. Kakashi, the attack failed. So strong, Kakashi couldn't help but exclaim. Fire-style Fire Dragon Flame Bomb. At this time, Yuanfei Asuma released the fire-style ninjutsu. See this. Show off your skills before an expert. On the huge blue Susanoo, Roman, with a pair of scarlet Mangekyo Sharingan, showed even more disdain. Then, swoosh, another simple slash of the sword directly cut through the surging Fire Dragon's flame bomb.
On the other side, on a street a little further away.
That's 12-year-old Uchiha Sasuke was standing on the road with a look of surprise, looking up at the blue Susanoo that was dozens of meters tall in the distance. Chapter 6 cut off Akamichi Choza's arm. Uchiha Sasuke was shocked by the huge 2-faced, 4-armed blue Susanoo in the distance. At the same time, after he swiftly jumped onto the roof of a nearby building. There seems to be someone in that monster's head. Wait, those red eyes are Sharingan? Even from a distance, Uchiha Sasuke could see the pair of glowing scarlet eyes of Roman among Susanoo. And, this feeling is actually the same as that man. No, this is an even more terrifying eye power and chakra than that man. Especially this amount of chakra. How can someone possess such a huge amount of chakra? Who is he? Uchiha Sasuke, who is only about 12 years old now, looks so confused at this moment. As a member of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Sasuke could feel the powerful pupil power from Mangekyo Sharingan in Roman's eyes even from a long distance. Uchiha Sasuke had felt this kind of powerful eye power in the eyes of his brother, Uchiha Itachi. It was an extremely cold, powerful and terrifying force. However, Uchiha Sasuke actually saw the Sharingan in the eyes of another stranger, and even felt the power of the Mangekyo Sharingan. What's more, it was even more powerful, colder and more terrifying than the Uchiha Itachi's eye power he had ever felt before. Uchiha Sasuke couldn't help but feel shocked and unbelievable. Apart from himself and the sinner Uchiha Itachi, are there other members of the Uchiha clan? At this moment, Uchiha Sasuke actually felt a little surprised in his heart. Do you have any tribesmen, and they are such a powerful tribe?
But Uchiha Sasuke didn't know why the other party would make such a fuss in the village at this moment.
Why, when will my Sharingan? Before he knew it, Uchiha Sasuke discovered that his Two-Tomo Sharingan had been activated at some point. Is it the Uchiha clan's eye power resonance? Uchiha Sasuke became more and more certain that the other person was one of his tribesmen. Also at this time, attracted by a very friendly eye power, Roman, who had just lost control of the crazy fighting spirit in the memory of Uchiha Madara, immediately regained his sanity. I have to say, Uchiha Madara's fighting spirit against Senju Hashirama is really terrifying.
As expected, he is your lifelong rival. Just hearing the name, Senju Hashirama. Roman, who had absorbed the memory of Uchiha Madara, almost completely lost control in the extremely fiery fighting spirit in the memory.
Fortunately, a beam of pupil power from the distance that seemed to be of the same origin attracted Roman's attention at this moment. It also allowed him to regain his sanity in time. Then, floating on the head of Susanoo, Roman at this moment used the supervision of Mangekyo Sharingan to quickly see. That is, Uchiha Sasuke. Roman immediately saw the figure of Uchiha Sasuke on the rooftop in the distance and recognized him immediately. After all, Urtsutsu still looks very iconic, not to mention his unique clothing and family emblem. Urzuzi's hairstyle alone is unique. Moreover, the only one in Konoha who possesses the Sharingan with both eyes is Uchiha Sasuke. At this time, Uchiha Sasuke was also on the roof, looking at Susanoo's Roman. Then, when I saw Roman staring at me with his Mangekyo Sharingan open, Uchiha Sasuke suddenly felt as if he was being stared at by the eyes of a ferocious ancient beast. In an instant, Uchiha Sasuke was so shocked that he felt as if his whole body was frozen and unable to move. Ninjutsu Expansion Jutsu. At this moment, when Roman and Uchiha Sasuke were looking at each other, Akamichi Choza suddenly became gigantic. At the same time, heart to heart, Yamanaka Hayi, a member of the Ino Shikacho group, was also preparing to use his secret technique on Roman in Susanoo from a distance. But, Jung, Roman's pair of Mangekyo Sharingan, just a glimpse. He was instantly stunned, trapped in an illusion. During this time, Nara Shikaku used the shadow binding technique to control Akamichi Choza, who had just performed a high-speed meat bomb roll, and then threw him like a yo-yo towards the giant, two-faced, four-armed blue Susanoo that was dozens of meters tall. But, roll, Romanly shouted, then controlled Susanoo the third stage and kicked it hard. The powerful force directly kicked the round meatball into the sky. And, swoosh, Roman instantly condensed an 8-board Magatama, and then let Susanoo blast it towards the huge meatball in the sky. Break, the next moment, a huge arm covered in blood was waving directly in the air. Behind him, Akamichi Choza stopped the rapid tumbling of the meat bomb, looking like he had a broken arm. Chingzuo, Kakashi, Yuhi Kurenai, Yamanaka Hayi, Nara Shikaku and others all exclaimed in surprise. That guy is so strong. On this side, Uchiha Sasuke was shocked as he watched from the top of a high building. At the same time, I was curious about what kind of ninjutsu this huge Susanoo, that was tens of meters long in front of me was. How can it be so powerful? As powerful as Kakashi was, with so many Jonin besieging one person, he was actually at a complete disadvantage. Who is that man? Defeat and cut off one arm of Akamichi Dingzo, achieve a primary achievement once, congratulations, primary achievement lottery once. Void, the system prompt interface and sound that only Roman could see appeared at the same time. Oh, Roman, Mangekyo Sharingan just glanced at the empty system prompt. Then smiled indifferently. The scarlet gaze began from Susanoo, who was several dozen meters high, overlooking the surroundings below. You guys, is this all you have? How can you please me like this? Roman received almost all of Uchiha Madara's life memories and combat experience, so it is inevitable that he would be more or less influenced by Madara. Especially, the influence of speaking style, in this regard. Looking at Roman who is so high and mighty, Kakashi, Asuma, what should we do? He is too strong. On the side, Shiri Hong frowned. Orochimaru's chakra would be as fragile as Genin's in front of this man. He is so strong that he is like a monster. While running towards the Hokage building at high speed, Mitarashi Anko looked back with a look of doubt and exclaimed in surprise. The chakra reaction on Roman's body is really amazing. During this time, Hitaki Kakashi looked at the blue Susanoo that was dozens of meters tall in front of him, and especially sensed Roman's chakra inside the Susanoo. Kakashi couldn't help but feel a little powerless. This terrifying chakra is like a human-shaped tailed beast. Don't forget, I'm here too. Konoha's blue beast is here. Look at me. Peacock, Chapter 7 Kakashi's Rakery Assault. To the peacock, suddenly, a loud shout that seemed to represent infinite and fiery youth was heard. It turned out that it was Might Guy, who opened the 6th gate from the 8 inner gates. It was now complete. At the same time, when others failed, Might Guy was now burning with turbulent blue steam all over his body. Then rush to the huge blue Susanoo. Directly activate your ultimate move after opening 8 inner gates and 6th gate. Open black lens bracket to the peacock. Close black lens bracket. Boom boom boom. The powerful fist rubbed the air to produce flames, which combined with the extremely powerful air cannon that burst out. In an instant, they were like fiery red peacocks, bombarding the huge blue Susanoo in front of them. Then, under Susanoo 3rd stage, Roman was hit by the powerful air cannon against Peacock and took several steps back. But, Jung, responding, the 4 giant arms of blue Susanoo swung forward in unison, holding giant chakra blades. Directly cut off all the Peacock flame air cannons fired by Might Guy. Whoosh, he even condensed the 8-plate Magatama once again in an instant and threw it at Might Guy. Fortunately, Might Guy had extremely fast speed and reaction ability when the 8 inner gate's 6th gate was opened, and he dodged Roman's 8-board Magatama. It's not like Akamichi Choza who had his arm cut off directly. Boom, the Yusabatsu no Magatama was dodged by Might Guy, but the row of houses in front were not so lucky. All of them were instantly shattered into pieces by the terrifying force of the 8-plate Magatama.
Period. Swish, 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 swish. Many Anbu members nearby also rushed here at this time.
Kakashi Jonin, what's going on here? A masked man who looked like Captain Anbu was shocked by Susanoo after landing. When he reacted, he immediately asked Kakashi. At the same time, there were some Anbu ninjas around who knew medical ninjutsu, and they had already removed the broken arm of Akamichi Choza. And start the treatment for Akamichi Choza, but there is no way to reattach a broken arm. Perhaps, if the medical expert, now their 5th Hokage, Princess Tsunade, comes, there will be some hope. Now these Anbu can only temporarily and simply stop the bleeding and heal Akamichi Choza quickly. And Hatake Kakashi at this moment, you may not believe this, but please believe this, the enemy before us is the legendary ninja, Uchiha Madara. After taking a look at the Anbu squad leader, Kakashi spoke with an extremely serious look. What? Hearing this, the Anbu squad leader and every Anbu around him were all stunned. I really can't believe what Kakashi said at this moment. What Kakashi said is true. The man before us possesses the mysterious Mangekyo Sharingan that is legendary among the Uchiha clan. At this time, Shihi Hong came over and added, Mangekyo Sharingan? The Anbu ninjas were shocked. Then they wanted to look up and see Roman inside the huge Susanoo's head. Don't look into his eyes, Kakashi shouted hurriedly. Then he explained, I will fall into a terrible illusion from the Mangekyo Sharingan. Also at this time, Untai, on the side, an Anbu ninja seemed to want to help the motionless Yamanaka Hayi to break some kind of illusion. But as the Anbu ninja formed seals with his hands, he shouted, release, from the mouth inside the mask. Yamanaka Hayi still had a dazed look on his face, his eyes were dull, and he continued to lie motionless. How could it be? The Anbu was a little unconvinced. The illusion of Mangekyo Sharingan is not something that ordinary ninjas can break. Kakashi spoke again. At this moment, Kakashi's expression was extremely solemn. The Anbu ninjas on the side also hurriedly lowered their heads, not daring to really look up at Roman's eyes on Susanoo. To this, looking at the Anbu ninjas who were treating Akamichi Choza and trying to break the Mangekyo illusion that Yamanaka Heiichi was suffering from, Roman smiled coldly inside Susanoo's head. During this time, the Mangekyo Sharingan flashed a cold scarlet light. What's the use of a mob, no matter how many of them come? Let me show you, what is real ninjutsu. On top of the blue Susanoo that was dozens of meters tall, Roman, dressed in red armor, spoke proudly to himself. Next moment, fire style, great fire extinguishment. Roman clasped his hands together and puffed up his mouth. Boom, the next moment, a terrifying high-temperature flame was gushing out of Roman's mouth. And in an instant it was like a raging sea of fire, or like the Milky Way pouring down. It rushed towards all the Anbu ninjas below as well as Kakashi, Kurenai Yuhi, Asuma, Might Guy and everyone else. The range of this technique is so large, Shihi Hong couldn't help but exclaim. At the same time, she reacted and was like Kakashi and Anbu ninjas around her and many other ninjas who knew water style. Water style water barrier, quickly form hand seals and release water style ninjutsu. Finally, the water style released by dozens of ninjas together was able to block Roman's attack of great fire extinguishing. Hiss, but at this moment the air is full of white steam. It blocked the combat vision of many people. Leaf hurricane. At the critical moment, Might Guy appeared again and performed physical skills in the powerful state of the 8 inner gates and 6th gate opened. In an instant, a huge gust of wind swept up and swept away the steam. But, suddenly, a sickle weapon slashed towards Might Guy's throat the moment he blew away the steam. It turned out that Roman had left Susanoo and attacked Might Guy with a sickle weapon he had taken out from somewhere. Guy, Kakashi's worried voice. Ding, clang clang. However, Might Guy reacted very quickly and defended himself when the 6th gate was open. However, Might Guy, who was unarmed, was still scratched in the abdomen by a sickle that looked like a Shinigami weapon in Roman's hand. Roman was also temporarily kicked away by Might Guy with a powerful kick. To this, with a swish, Roman landed on the roof of a building. Thus, the numerous Konoha shinobi, especially Might Guy, who were holding scythe weapons, overlooked the streets below. You're great, but you don't have enough cyan steam to fight me. Roman smiled calmly while looking down at the Might Guy on the street below.
Squeak squeak squeak. Suddenly, a burst of intense bird calls arose behind Roman.
It turns out that Kakashi over there has always been Shadow Clone. Kakashi's real body has been in the dark preparing to launch a sneak attack on Roman. This was the last chance. Kakashi, holding the Reikari, attacked Roman's heart from behind at an extremely fast speed. Hey, he's really as dark as that Tobirama guy. Chapter 8. Tsunade-ji, how much strength did you inherit from him? The next second, Kakashi's Reikari successfully pierced the heart of Roman, who was wearing red armor. At this moment, Hitaki Kakashi's Sharingan on his left eye has been revealed. Kakashi, good job. At this time, Might Guy couldn't help but cheer out loud. But, puff, Roman, who was stabbed in the heart by Reikari, turned into a ball of white mist. Disappeared. Nani? Not good. Kakashi was horrified. I immediately wanted to retreat as quickly as possible. But, Shuajang, a tall red figure flashed in front of him. And, boom, reach back and take it out, as a stream of red blood flowed out. Kakashi's left eye, Sharingan, was instantly dug out by Roman. Kakashi couldn't help but groan in pain. Kakashi, Might Guy, as well as Yuhi Kurenai, Asuma and others beside him all cried out anxiously and rushed forward quickly to rescue Kakashi. To this, when a mantis stalks a cicada, it must be aware. The Oriole is behind it. Roman said this to Kakashi in front of him with a faint smile on his face. During this time, Roman did not stop his movements at all, and the sickle weapon in his other hand suddenly chopped towards the head of Kakashi in front of him.
Kakashi is actually very strong, and his elite Jonin strength is always among the best in Konoha village.
Only, at this moment, Kakashi is facing Roman who has all the strength of Uchiha Madara. Kakashi was like a babbling child in front of Roman. Weak, too weak. In front of Roman, Kakashi had no power to resist at all. The next moment, Roman was seen about to chop off Kakashi's head with the sickle in his hand. Kakashi, Asuma, Nara Shikaku, Yuhi Kurenai and other companions were all very anxious, but even the Might Guy who opened the 6th gate of the 8 inner gates could not get there in time. Boom, but, the next second, it was Roman who flew out. Kakashi, cheer up. At this moment, a graceful figure kicked Roman, who was wearing red armor, away at the critical moment, and glanced at Kakashi next to him. Kakashi, who had escaped the disaster by covering his bleeding left eye, looked at the woman in front of him with a little surprise. 5th generation. Hokage adults. At the critical moment, it was Princess Tsunade, now the 5th Hokage of Konoha, who arrived in time and kicked Roman away. Afterwards, Tsunade stepped forward and covered Kakashi's bleeding left eye with her hand, and began to use the medical ninjutsu in her hand to quickly heal Kakashi's eyes. Sharingan was taken away. While treating, Princess Tsunade asked cautiously. Yes, I'm sorry, Kakashi said very apologetically. At the same time, looking at the charming Tsunade-ji in front of him. 5th Hokage, the other party is very likely. Uchiha Madara, Princess Tsunade suddenly answered and asked again, right? Hi, yes, Kakashi nodded, also at this time. Swish, 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 Might Guy, Kurenai Yuhi, Asuma and other Jonin finally arrived at the rooftop. At the same time, countless Anbu ninjas followed closely behind and flashed onto the battlefield behind Princess Tsunade. In addition, Mitarashi Anko, who just went to inform Tsunade Heim, has also returned to the field. Kakashi, how are you? Might Guy asked worriedly as soon as he arrived. Hokage-sama, the others saluted Princess Tsunade first. Everyone, be alert to the enemy, Princess Tsunade gave the order directly. Yes, Yuhi Kurenai, Asuma, Narashikaku, and countless Anbu ninjas immediately stepped forward, alert to Roman's direction. Regarding this, in the ruins of a collapsed building. Bang! A giant blue chakra skeleton hand several meters in size suddenly shook off the rubble and stones that were buried on its body. Then, Roman was seen standing in the ruins, protected by Susanoo Phase 1. During this time, he held his weapon, the sickle, in one hand and a 3-tomo Sharingan that he had dug out from Kakashi's left eye in the other. This is Uchiha Obito's Kamui Sharingan, whoosh. The next second, the Sharingan in Roman's hand suddenly disappeared out of thin air. But in the internal space of the achievement sign in system. Box 1, Uchiha Fan, Grid 2, 3-tomo Sharingan times 9. Grid 3, Otsutsuki Ashura's Flesh and Blood. Grid 4, Red Armor X 9999, Grid 5, Kamui Sharingan Left Eye. Obviously, the weapon, the sickle, was also taken out from the internal space of the system. It's really Susanoo. At this time, looking at the incomplete blue skull on Roman's body, Tsunade frowned. At the same time, Kakashi's eye injury was quickly healed, however, for the time being, Kakashi could only use his right eye. The next second, Roman suddenly took off the Susanoo Phase 1 on his body. Then, this gesture, it really looks like the Uchiha Madara statue in the Valley of the End. On the side, countless Anbu ninjas looked at Roman's image and couldn't help but exclaimed one by one. Motor. Tsunade couldn't calm down at this moment. Who are you? Princess Tsunade still held on to a last glimmer of hope, hoping that it was not really Uchiha Madara who had been resurrected. At this moment, Roman also looked at the amazing Tsunade princess with a pair of open black lens bracket Mangekyo Sharingan close black lens bracket. When I entered the village just now, I heard that the granddaughter of Hashirama became the 5th Hokage. Is that you, the woman? Roman spoke in a gentle tone, as if he was chatting. So what if it's me? Tsunade waved her hand and continued to shout. Whoever you are, I hope you leave Konoha immediately. Otherwise you will face the attack of all the ninjas in Konoha. Princess Tsunade said this with great vigor, but I don't know if her heart is as calm as she appears to be. I just want to know, how much strength did you inherit from that guy? Roman gently waved the sickle in his hand, then spoke with a scarlet look and a slight evil smile. And, the next second, Roman, wearing red armor and holding a sickle weapon, rushed towards Tsunadeheim and many other ninjas on the roof of the building as fast as lightning. He's so fast, the ninjas around couldn't help but exclaimed in shock. Capture the invading enemies. Princess Tsunade waved her hand and gave the order. Soon, a group of Anbu ninjas immediately obeyed the order and rushed forward to meet the surging Roman. Then, bang 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 bang, at the first encounter, more than a dozen Anbu ninjas were kicked and flew backwards, vomiting blood like balls. The speed at which they flew backwards was faster than the speed at which they rushed over. Clang, an Anbu ninja swung his sword at Roman, but Roman blocked it with his sickle. And with a slash of the sickle in Roman's hand. The Anbu ninja was cut in half. Chapter 9 Yuan Fei Asuma Behead. At this moment, in a dark underground base. What's going on out there? What was that vibration just now? Shimura Danzo asked out loud after glancing at the 2 root guards beside him. It seemed like they were ordered to investigate the reason. Just as the guards were about to leave, oink oink. At this moment, 3 other root ninjas suddenly appeared nearby. Danzo-sama, something bad has happened outside. The 3 root ninjas who seemed to have come to deliver the message all looked a little panicked and uncertain. Why are you panicking? Tell me, what's going on? Danzo shouted with a cold look. To this, Master Danzo, it's Uchiha Madara. The legendary ninja Uchiha Madara is not dead at all. He has appeared in our Konoha village right now and is slaughtering Anbu ninjas. Strong, he is too strong. Kakashi, Akamichi Choza and all the other Jonin are no match for him. 5th Hokage Tsunadeheim has arrived on the battlefield, and now it seems impossible to stop the legendary ninja Uchiha Madara. The 3 root ninjas kept reporting in a hurry.
What are you talking about? Danzo couldn't keep calm for a moment.
Uchiha Madara, now, outside, the wide streets of Konoha village, which were once prosperous, now became desolate, with countless civilians scrambling to flee. Even at this moment, there were bloody corpses all over the ground. They are all Konoha Anbu ninjas, clang. At this time, a tall figure in red armor stood among a large number of corpses and inserted the sickle weapon in his hand into the ground. Oh, it's so ugly. Roman looked at the dozens of Konoha Anbu ninjas from all directions who were being killed by him like cutting melons and vegetables, with a faint and indifferent smile on his face. Maybe it's because he has accepted the lifelong memory of Uchiha Madara. Roman has now completely disregarded life without realizing it.
Dozens of Konoha Anbu ninjas were slaughtered, the ground was covered with blood, and the smell of blood was extremely pungent. However, Roman did not feel uncomfortable at all.
It seemed as if he was the real Shira from hell. How could it be? At this moment, Kakashi, Kurenai Yuhi, Mitarashi Enko and other ninjas around Princess Tsunade were all looking at the powerful figure in red armor in shock. I can't believe it, the dozens of Anbu ninjas who rushed over just now were defeated by him in less than 10 seconds. Kill them all, too fast. Yuhi Kurenai and the others couldn't even see Roman's movements clearly. In the blink of an eye, they saw the Anbu ninjas being beheaded. It's horrible. B********************. D. Tsunade Jiddu was shocked at Roman's strength. Even though there were dozens of Anbu ninjas, she could kill them if she wanted to. But Roman was so good at killing them all in 10 seconds. Even Tsunade Ji didn't dare to say that, but Roman did it directly. He even really looked as if he hadn't tried his best. This strength, it completely shocked every Konoha shinobi present. At this time, what, you don't even dare to do the most basic dance? Roman opened his Scarlet Mangekyo Sharingan and looked calmly at the many Konoha ninjas opposite him, each of whose faces was filled with fear. Motor, Princess Tsunade shouted, what is your purpose? Hearing, purpose? Roman murmured to himself. Then, take back everything that originally belonged to Uchiha Madara. Roman said something ambiguous. What? Tsunade, Kakashi and others were a little confused. Once upon a time, the alliance between the Uchiha and the Senju was for peace and stability. Hashirama even said that he wanted me to become the first Hokage. But because of Tobirama's existence, not only did I not become the first Hokage, I instead saw the tragic end where the Uchiha's future was doomed to be wiped out. However, when I told my tribesmen, no one was willing to believe me. At this moment, Roman seemed to have fallen into the depths of Uchiha Madara's memory again, expressing the original Uchiha Madara's unwillingness. That day, no one left with me, there's no one behind me. As if stimulated by the memories in his mind, Roman couldn't help feeling sad and angry. Roman couldn't help but clench his hands holding the sickle weapon. At last, everyone, leave Konoha, I cannot kill you. This was Roman's last words. Leave, there should have been a place for Uchiha Madara.
Now, Roman wants to take back everything that once belonged to that man for Uchiha Madara.
Even if it is just a small reward after obtaining Uchiha Madara's supreme power. Impossible. After hearing this, Tsunade directly punched Roman to reject him. Kakashi, Asuma, Might Guy and the others took a step forward, all with determined looks on their faces. Even Akamichi Choza, whose arm had just been cut off by Roman with the Yaita no Magatama, was simply treated and now grew huge again to stand in front of Roman. See this, Roman stopped talking. Instead, he held the sickle weapon and said slowly. Take a step forward. One step at a time, a group of Konoha shinobi walked towards the front. He was filled with murderous intent and did not try to conceal it at all. Suddenly, some ordinary ninjas couldn't help but retreat in fear. Some even couldn't help but bow their heads and pray. Everyone, cheer up, this is for our sake. Princess Tsunade spoke to boost morale. But, Roman rushed up directly, not giving her any more time to talk nonsense. Fire style. Asuma launched a ninjutsu first. I told you, don't show off your skills in front of an expert. Roman jumped up and shouted angrily in the air. At the same time, temporarily put the sickle weapon into the system's internal space. Fire style. Great fire extinguishment. Boom. The extremely terrifying raging fire was like a giant arrow falling from the sky, rushing towards the Konoha shinobi in front of it at a high speed. Instantly broke through the fire-style ninjutsu originally released by Asuma, and quickly attacked Tsunade Haim, Kakashi and others. In this regard, Tsunade, Kakashi, Yuhi Kurenai, Might Guy and others avoided the fire. However, the fire still burned some Anbu ninjas and civilian ninjas who were unable to dodge into charcoal. Roman has already taken out the sickle weapon from the system space again. At the same time, Call out, just when Yuan Fei Asuma had stood still after avoiding the raging fire, Roman's Ashura-like red figure suddenly appeared in front of him. In an instant, Asuma felt that for a moment, his heartbeat inexplicably stopped. Asuma only woke up when he saw Roman swinging the sickle in his hand and slashing at his body. Then hold the kunai in hand and prepare to resist. However, Roman, with waist-length hair, smiled. All of Yuan Fei Asuma's actions were exposed without any secrets under the powerful insight of his Mangekyo Sharingan. Swoosh, the sickle that was originally slashing towards Asuma's body strangely changed its attack, and the smooth slash became upwards. Then a streak of blood was seen floating in the air. Asuma covered his throat, blood constantly flowing out of it. Assume. Chapter 10. The only thing that can be inherited is hatred. Assume. With a cry of surprise, as blood continued to flow out of Yuan Fei Asuma's throat, his vitality quickly faded away, until he finally fell to the ground. And this cry of sorrow came from Nara Shikamaru. That's right, it seems that all the 12 young warriors of Konoha, in the original drama were attracted here. Shikamaru was even more shocked and looked at Yuan Fei Asuma, who fell over there in disbelief. Teacher Asuma, Akamichi Choji and Yamanaka Ino also looked incredulous. Asuma, Kurenai Yuhi, who was not far away, was also stunned at this moment. B******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Roman with blue steam bursting from his body in anger. During this period, Kakashi also gathered Reikari again, and attacked Roman from both sides together with Might Guy. "I've told you, if you want to fight me, the color of steam you have now is not enough," Roman shouted arrogantly. But he still engaged in a few punches and kicks with Might Guy. It has to be said that although Might Guy was still no match for Roman after opening the sixth gate, he was able to hold him back for a while. Just at this time, Kakashi rushed over with Reikari in hand. But now Kakashi no longer has the inside assistance of the Sharingan. Of course, for Kakashi now, the impact is not big. Seeing Asuma's death, Kakashi was filled with anger at this moment, and rushed over as fast as if he was going to pierce Roman's chest with one blow. HMPH, Bug, Roman, who was entangled by Might Guy, showed a disdainful smile. Roar, the next second, powerful eye power and chakra exploded. Susanoo in the second stage, a long roar towards the sky emerged from Roman's body. Boom, the powerful explosive force directly knocked back Might Guy and Kakashi. Teacher Kakashi. At this time, Uzumaki Naruto, one of the 12 young strongmen and the protagonist of the original drama, looked at the situation at the scene and couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Especially seeing the bodies all over the place. Uzumaki Naruto is a bit shocking, that is. On the side, Uchiha Sasuke was also near the battlefield. Then, Urtsutsu saw Roman's appearance clearly. "You, Uchiha Madara?" Uchiha Sasuke recognized Roman's appearance. Not to mention the huge stone statues of Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama in the Valley of the End. You have to know that as a member of the Uchiha clan, Nibali has seen portraits of Uchiha Madara in many homes of the Uchiha clan in the former Uchiha clan territory. As the strongest Uchiha in the past, many members of the Uchiha clan used to worship Uchiha Madara. Therefore, Uchiha Sasuke quickly recognized who Roman was. Impossible, the legendary ninja Uchiha Madara, shouldn't he have already? Urtsutsu couldn't believe that the super strong man who had died actually appeared in front of him alive. Moreover, he is one's own clan member and ancestor?
Why did such an incredible thing suddenly happen when I was already thinking about looking for Orochimaru?
Also, so strong, the opponent is really strong. Uchiha Sasuke looked at Roman, who was almost teasing Kakashi, Might Guy and other Jonin, and felt extremely confused. Snake Shadow lurking hand. At this time, Mitarashi Anko launched a special ninjutsu and multiple poisonous tongues shot from her hands towards Roman. Stupid, Roman sneered. With a thought, the huge Susanoo simply waved its hand and directly dispersed Mitarashi Anko's attack. "You don't have much time left. Leave Konoha as soon as possible." Roman seemed to be giving a final ultimatum. Period. Roman glanced at the positions of the two little guys, Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke. Ashura and Indra in this life, their strength seems to be very good. Roman had made up his mind, but he did not show it on the surface. The other side, don't be so proud, B******************. Princess Tsunade suddenly flew up. A punch hit the body of Susanoo too, hard. Click. The second-level Susanoo was still not strong enough, and a crack appeared on it after being hit by Princess Tsunade's angry punch. Oh, Roman pretended to be slightly surprised and said, Hashirama's strange power? It's just that you don't seem to have learned it yet. Whoosh, the next second, Susanoo recovered completely. How can I repair it? Princess Tsunade was a little unwilling. I want to punch and kick again, but, bang. Susanoo condensed a huge chakra knife in her hand and slashed it down. Princess Tsunade had to step away. You are just a woman. Do you think you can be the same as Hashirama, even if you are his descendant? Roman clasped his arms across his chest in the blue Susanoo with a proud look on his face, glancing at Princess Tsunade outside. The most powerful thing I inherited from my great-grandfather is Konoha's will of fire, Princess Tsunade shouted in a resounding voice. The will of fire? Roman raised his eyebrows and sneered, what a stupid joke. The only thing that can be inherited is hatred. Roman continued to speak meaningfully. Who is that guy, and what is that blue thing? It's so strong. It can even withstand Grandma Tsunade's punch, Uzumaki Naruto exclaimed. Shut up, suddenly, Might Guy appeared behind Roman's blue Susanoo. Boom, a heavy kick landed on Susanoo's back. The force was no less than Princess Tsunade's attack just now, and even stronger. Because Susanoo had 2 cracks at this time, what will happen? Uchiha Sasuke couldn't help but worry about Roman. Also at this time, Earth Style, Times and Kakashi had gathered countless Konoha shinobi who knew Earth Style at some point. Then all of them released the Earth Style technique towards Roman at the same time. Boom, suddenly, one saw row after row of huge earth walls, earth balls, and earth blocks, covering Roman who was in Susanoo in the middle from all directions. During this time, Kakashi and the others didn't care about the houses of the Konoha villagers around them. All of them were covered by the earth wall and fell on Susanoo. In response to this, Roman opened his Scarlet Mangekyo Sharingan and looked at it indifferently. Boom, finally, like a mountain pressing down on its head, the huge Susanoo was trapped in the middle by rows of even larger earth walls. In an instant, smoke and dust billowed. Hurry! Princess Tsunade waved her hand at the right time. Then, Fire Style. There were countless Fire Style ninjas, who unleashed all kinds of Fire Style ninjutsu on Susanoo and Roman who were trapped by the earth wall. During this time, Nara Shikamaru, who was among the people who had come to the dead Asuma, looked at the place being attacked by everyone with hatred. Chapter 11 9 Tails. What? Motor, go and ask for help from the Buddha.
Killing, Yuan Fei Asuma, achieving a medium achievement once, congratulations, medium achievement lottery once. Closing square bracket. Killed, Konoha Anbu Ninja 32 people, achieve the primary achievement 3 times, congratulations and get, primary achievement lottery 3 times. Closing square bracket.
In the void, the system is prompting, although the timing of the reminder is not right. Now, Earth Style and Fire Style of countless ninjas in Konoha. In the end, this large area of Konoha Street was burned like a volcanic lava. Roman was buried under the volcanic rock together with his Susanoo Stage 2. Did you see that? This is the power of the will of fire within us? Princess Tsunade looked at the scene buried under the lava and couldn't help but scream out. Kakashi, Shikaku, you two did a great job. Tsunade looked at Kakashi and Nara Shikaku standing aside. It was Nara Shikaku who came up with the plan of joint attack, and Kakashi was responsible for executing it. As Konoha's think tank, Nara Shikaku could only think of this method to launch an effective attack on Roman for the time being. Uchiha Madara, so powerful, how could the strongest man in our clan, who was once said to be the strongest man in our clan, be killed just like that? Among the ninjas watching on the side of the battlefield, Uchiha Sasuke was a little bit unconvinced, or rather unwilling. Although it is normal to die when being besieged by so many ninjas. But he is the most powerful clan leader of the Uchiha clan. How could a strong man who is as famous as Senju Hashirama, who is known as the god of ninja, just? What happened? Why did the man in red armor kill Uncle Asuma? At this time, Uzumaki Naruto seemed to be a little confused about the situation. That man seems to be the legendary ninja Uchiha Madara. Among the 12 young strongmen at this moment, Tenten beside Neji murmured in disbelief. It is incredible that the legendary super strong man, Uchiha Madara, is still alive. But if I say it's not, the other person's appearance is really too similar to the stone statue of Uchiha Madara in the Valley of the End. Furthermore, the strength of that one man against many ninjas, including the current 5th Hokage Tsunade-sama, seemed to prove the truth of the other party's identity as Uchiha Madara. You, Uchiha Madara? Uzumaki Naruto cried out in shock. The legendary ninja, wasn't he already dead a long time ago? Naruto continued to ask in surprise and confusion. It's not clear, he is not dead yet, but why is he still so young? Neji was also confused. Teacher Asuma, Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji all looked at Asuma on the ground sadly. Having the same feeling is also Jonin Yuhi Kurenai. 5th Hokage has the other party already. At this time, Kakashi came to Princess Tsunade, hesitant to speak. Of course Kakashi hopes that the other party will be killed. But it's too easy, right? It's just too easy. How could the legendary ninja be like this? Moreover, Kakashi just saw that Roman didn't put up any resistance and just watched them perform Earth style and Fire style indifferently. For some reason, Kakashi felt very uneasy in this regard. Princess Tsunade, who had just finished making bold statements, now frowned a little. Kakashi. Then, Princess Tsunade was about to say something to Kakashi. But, puff, a huge blue Susanoo chakra sword suddenly emerged from the ground beneath Princess Tsunade. Then it instantly pierced through Tsunade's entire chest. Hokage adults. Kakashi's pupils quake. Countless Anbu ninjas and civilian ninjas nearby also exclaimed. Grandma Tsunade. On this side, Uzumaki Naruto was also shocked. To this, a red figure and a blue Susanoo Nikai slowly emerged from the soil. Although Uchiha Madara is not Grandmaster Earth style, it does not mean that it cannot be done. With the use of Earth style like this, Roman, who has obtained all the power of Modula, can certainly do it easily. The so-called will of fire you mentioned is worthless in my eyes. Looking at Princess Tsunade, who was directly pierced by his second-level Susanoo, Roman spoke coldly. Damn it, he's still alive. Kakashi couldn't help but feel angry. ****. Let go of Grandma Tsunade. On the other side, Uzumaki Naruto suddenly rushed to the middle of the battlefield. And quickly separated the shadow clone and condensed a Rasengan for himself on his right hand. What the hell? Looking at Naruto rushing out, Sasuke couldn't help but recall the battle on the rooftop not long ago. The next second, Sasuke clenched his fists unwillingly. When Roman heard the noise, he couldn't help but open his blood-red, Mangekyo Sharingan, and glanced at Uzumaki Naruto. Instantly, a nine-tails kitten inside Uzumaki Naruto instantly woke up. This power is even colder than my chakra. Madara, how is it possible? How is it possible that he is still alive? Kurama was sweating with fear. At the same time, sensing that Naruto was actually rushing towards that guy, Nine Tails immediately. Call out, forcefully pull Naruto into the sealed space. Hey, Nine Tails, why did you bring me here? I need to save Grandma Tsunade. Naruto suddenly came to the sealed space. After being stunned for a moment, he reacted and immediately pointed at Kurama and shouted. Shut up, you little brat, Kurama yelled. Do you know who that guy is? You approached that man so easily, do you want to die, little brat? Nine Tails yelled. Hearing this, Naruto rubbed his chin. Neji and Tenten said that the guy who killed Uncle Asuma might be the legendary ninja, Uchiha Madara. After hearing what Naruto said, Nine Tails became even more upset. Is it really that man? Seeing this, Naruto felt that the Nine Tails demon fox at this moment was a little different from usual. Hey, Nine Tails, you seem a little scared. Naruto scratched his head. Stop talking nonsense. Anyway, kid, get away from that man right now. The farther the better, Nine Tails yelled angrily. Why? Naruto still asked. No reason, Nine Tails shouted. And the next moment, Naruto was sent back to the outside world. Leave immediately. Naruto returned to the outside world and heard a reminder from Nine Tails in his spiritual world. No, Grandma Tsunade is in danger now, I can't not save her. Naruto shook his head. Baka, who do you think you are? Senju Hashirama? Nine Tails was anxious and cursed. If you dare to make me become a pet under the power of that man again, I will tear you to pieces, you self-righteous brat. Chapter 12 Humans like light, but their methods are always dark. The legendary Uchiha who was the first to activate the Mangekyo Sharingan is indeed so strong. Looking at Roman's blue Susanoo second stage chakra sword piercing through Princess Tsunade at this moment, Uchiha Sasuke couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Just now, so many ninjas used fire style and earth style one after another. Roman was actually fine, not even a scratch. Uchiha Sasuke was surprised by this. But it seems that this is how the strongest clan leader of their Uchiha clan used to be. Now, although he was a genin of Konoha and the other party was an enemy who invaded Konoha, at this moment, Hashira couldn't help but hope that the Uchiha senior in front of him would win a great victory. Always smiling, they are always smiling, it's time for the rest of Konoha to experience what it feels like to lose everything. Urtsutsu couldn't help thinking this with a dark heart at this moment. Here, Roman looked at Princess Tsunade who was pretending to be dead on the tip of his Susanoo chakra. Then he noticed something and glanced at Uzumaki Naruto. It was indeed Uzumaki Naruto's behavior that attracted Roman's attention for a while. Don't be impatient, Nine Tails, wait a minute, I'll come put the collar on you. Looking at Naruto, Roman's scarlet pupils smiled as if he saw the Nine Tails kitten inside the other person's body. Damn motor, Kurama yelled angrily inside Naruto's body. But more, yes, disgust and uneasiness, click. At this moment, Roman was heard talking to Nine Tails. Tsunade suddenly jumped up and cut off Susanoo's second-level chakra sword with one hand. Don't even think about touching Naruto, Tsunade Haim shouted angrily. At the same time, bang, he stepped forward and kicked hard on the Susanoo second stage, on Roman's body. Immediately, several cracks appeared on the not-so-strong Susanoo stage 2. What a powerful force, worthy of being Hokage, Might Guy couldn't help but sigh. Tsunade wanted to beat Susanoo in front of Arrancar thoroughly, so she continued to swing her fist heavily. Go to hell. Pong dang, however, what no one expected was that Roman took the initiative to put out Susanoo at this moment, and also confronted the angry Tsunade with his fists. In an instant when the two powerful fists collided, the chakra that burst out swept up a violent energy force and attacked in all directions. Only, Princess Tsunade's fist was blocked. How could this happen? All Konoha shinobi were shocked. Even Tsunade herself was looking at Roman in front of her with an expression of disbelief. She couldn't believe it. Is there anyone who dares to challenge me head-on in terms of strength? Even, not inferior to her at all, Tsunade-ji couldn't believe it. To this, if it was Hashirama, I would not confront him head-on like this. But your words, just a grain of sand, not even half as good as me. Roman opened his Scarlet Mangekyo Sharingan and looked at the shocked Tsunade Haim in front of him with extreme disdain. Then boom, the terrifying chakra is radiated through the fist. Instantly, she suppressed Princess Tsunade, who had always been proud of her strength, in terms of strength. What? After being beaten back again and again, Princess Tsunade looked completely incredulous. Did I lose in the strength that I have always been proud of? How could it be? At this moment, Roman dodged swiftly as if no one was attacking him. Then, click, with his scarlet eyes wide open, Roman dodged and then, with a simple and direct yet irresistible move, he pinched something invisible with his hand. But soon, I saw that some ninjutsu failed. A Konoha shinobi who looked a little sick was now being strangled by the throat by Roman's big black-gloved hand. Moonlight Gale in the original drama, in the plot, shouldn't he have just died at the hands of the ninjas from the Hidden Sand Village? How are you still alive? Are there any minor changes to the plot? Well, it doesn't matter, it's better if I'm not dead, give me another chance to win the achievement lottery. Humans have always said they love light, but they always resort to shameful and dark means. Looking at the Moonlight Gale whose throat he was strangling, Roman spoke so softly as if he was talking to himself. Gale. At this moment, a beautiful figure with purple hair among the Konoha shinobi nearby looked at the Moonlight Gale in Roman's hand very nervously. Let him go. The next second, she rushed towards Roman with a sword in hand. Maybe she was anxious to save her lover, so she didn't care about swordsmanship or ninjutsu at all and rushed forward eagerly. During this time, Moonlight Gale was still struggling to death, swinging the sharp blade in his hand towards Roman's neck. But, Shua, Roman's movements were still as simple and swift as ever. He directly grabbed his opponent's hand with his backhand. Then with a puff, Roman took the moonlight wind and pierced his hand, letting the weapon in his hand kill him and penetrate his throat. In an instant, the sharp blade pierced from the front to the back of the neck. Oops! Moonlight Gale suddenly vomited blood from his mouth. And his body quickly collapsed to the ground. In response, Azuki Yugao ran halfway. If you just stare blankly at the moonlight and the wind slowly fall to the ground. A*hole. Uzumaki Naruto shouted angrily on the side. He was even so arrogant as to want to rush up and beat Roman. Fortunately, Neji, Tenten, Shikamaru, Choji and other Konoha strongmen stopped the impulsive Naruto. Calm down, Naruto. We can't possibly be the opponent of such a strong man. In a fight like this, we can only watch. Shikamaru grabbed Naruto's shoulders and persuaded him. If possible, Shikamaru also wants to avenge Asuma himself. But it's impossible, the gap in strength is too big. Even the Hokage, Tsunade Haim, and Kakashi couldn't say they could defeat that kind of enemy. Naruto, don't go over and disturb Lord Hokage and Sensei Kakashi. Haruno Sakura came over and punched Naruto helplessly. On the other side, Yuhi Kurenai glanced at Azuki Yugao who was standing there not far away, and then looked at Asuma. A pair of red eyes when Chunin couldn't help but well up with tears. In this regard, Roman didn't care at all about who he killed. He only knew that the system prompt in the void told him that he had one more chance to sign in for his primary achievement. 8 inner gates, 7th gate, shock gate, open. Watching Roman slaughter 2 of his friends and dozens of Konoha Anbu ninjas in succession, Might Guy was completely furious and directly opened the 7th gate. You are unforgivable, Day Tiger. Chapter 13. Akamichi Clan, Yamanaka Clan, Hyuga Clan, thousands of ninjas. Guy. Looking at the Might Guy who was opening the 7th gate of the 8 inner gates, Kakashi was moved. At this moment, the blue-green steam on Might Guy's body was extremely dazzling. The chakra reaction on the body is even more amazing. The ninjas who were watching from all directions were all terrified. Teacher Guy. In the distance, Shaoli's eyes were filled with tears of excitement. That kind of power. Neji couldn't help but open his Byakugan bloodline, and then saw more clearly how strong and huge the chakra in Might Guy's body was at this moment. Oh, Roman noticed Might Guy's condition again at this time? Just the 7th gate, it's still not red steam, it seems. I'm still being underestimated.
Or is it that you can only drive as far as the 7th gate at the moment?
Roman still had a faint smile on his face at this time. He didn't seem to care at all how powerful the chakra on Might Guy was at this moment. However, Roman still took Susanoo a step further. Susanoo Phase 3 is released. That is, the stage of Susanoo with 2 legs, 2 faces, 4 arms, and dozens of meters tall that appeared at the barbecue restaurant at the beginning. This is enough, Roman said with a faint smile on his face. Then, welcome the power from the blue beast of Konoha. Day Tiger. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Might Guy jumped up and came in front of Susanoo. Punch, roar, in an instant, Might Guy's fist exploded into a violent air cannon. And it miraculously formed the posture of a white tiger. Roaring like this, he attacked the huge Susanoo several dozen meters in front of him. Stage 3. During this period, Roman, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 2-faced, 4-armed Susanoo Sanden condensed 8 Magatama with his 4 large hands at the same time. Suddenly, 4 shots were fired. Then, looking at the surging, daytime tiger air cannon, Roman's mind moved, and Susanoo immediately threw out 4 8-board Magatama. Clang boom, suddenly, the 4-shot and 8-board Magatama and the day tiger's air cannon collided with each other. The explosive shock wave blew everything in all directions far away. Waka, Ske, Chunin couldn't help but exclaim while Naruto was being blown away. Lord Tsunade, are you okay? Shizune ran over to Princess Tsunade worriedly. Shizune, I'm fine. Tsunade Haim Kaido. Lord Tsunade, you. The seal on your forehead. Have you used the ninja art? Meiotic regeneration? Shizune looked at Princess Tsunade in front of him and couldn't help but be surprised. At this time, the diamond-shaped crystal between Tsunade's eyebrows had disappeared. His whole body is also covered with some kind of black chakra runes. It was Princess Tsunade who had unlocked the 100 healings mark, that stored chakra all year round, and used the ninja art, meiotic regeneration, to heal the chest injury that had just been pierced by Roman Susanoo. In this regard, Princess Tsunade no longer answered Shizune, and her eyes were fixed on the 4 Yutake no Magatama, and daytime tiger, that were surging and fighting each other. When a handful of 8-board Magatama hits the daytime tiger, it has little effect. Zuhu continued to attack with full momentum. However, when using the 2 Yugatsu no Magatama, Hirudo's speed was obviously slower. When there are 3 or 4, the day tiger almost became a turtle. It actually stopped the day tiger. At this time, Might Guy's whole body turned red and blue steam continued to evaporate. But he looked surprised. My understanding of the power of the legendary ninja, Uchiha Madara, became even deeper. As expected, he is the legendary ninja Ashura, Uchiha Madara. But, my youth has not yet ended, to the peacock. Might Guy, who opened the 7th gate in succession, now continued to use the taijutsu, attack on the peacock, that he could use at the 6th gate. Boom boom boom, in an instant, countless red air cannons blasted forward like peacocks. Then, together with the daytime tiger, just now, attacked the 4-shot 8-board Magatama. Interesting. Roman smiled coldly. Then Susanoo's 4 big hands condensed 4 chakra knives, and continuously slashed out sharp knife lights. Bang bang bang, both sides continued to launch offensive attacks. The powerful shockwave tore apart all the Konoha houses within a few hundred meters. Not good, everyone, step back. At this time, Tsunade realized that the 2 forces in the middle were about to completely collapse and explode. So immediately look at all the Konoha shinobi in all directions and let them run for their lives. At the same time, Tsunade herself also quickly dodged and retreated. Sure enough, very quickly, boom, a violent explosion sounded. The shock wave that erupted instantly tore apart all the Konoha houses within a 1-kilometer radius. Even though Kakashi, Nara Shikaku, Akamichi Choza, Naruto, Neji and many other Konoha shinobi tried their best to jump and run a long distance, they were still blown away by the violent shockwave. Guy. Kakashi finally grabbed Naruto, little Sakura and Sasuke and hid under a wall to avoid the impact. At the same time, Chunin couldn't help but worry about Might Guy. To this, ta-da, the 7th gate was opened, and Might Guy, whose whole body was flushed red, used his hands to block the strong shock wave and fell to the ground not far from Kakashi. Ha-ha-hoo, Might Guy breathed heavily, very tired. Guy, Kakashi yelled. Teacher thick eyebrows. Naruto also spoke up. During this time, Haruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke were also looking at Might Guy in amazement. I guess he didn't expect Might Guy to have such a powerful secret technique. Kakashi, Harugatari and Asako are all powerless against the legendary ninja, Uchiha Madara. At this time, Might Guy glanced at Kakashi who was not far away and said this in the direction of Roman. At the same time, Might Guy has already made a decision in his mind. I'll say this one last time, if you leave Konoha, I won't kill you. At this moment, floating above the head of Susanoo Third Order, Roman stared coldly at Tsunade Haim, Might Guy and the others with a pair of Scarlet Mangekyo Sharingan. Damn it, how did my grandfather fight a one-on-one battle with such a being? Tsunade Jishin Chunin couldn't help feeling powerless. Might Guy has opened 7th gate, he couldn't do anything to the other party. At this moment, Roman was on Susanoo's head and was not hurt at all. Even, Susanoo wasn't broken, Uchiha Madara. It's really so strong that it makes people despair. Swish, 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 swish. At this moment, suddenly more Konoha shinobi learned about the battle and came here. During this time, we can see that the people who came are Akamichi clan, Nara clan, Yamanaka clan. The Byakugan, which is as famous as the Uchiha clan's Sharingan, and the head of the Hyuga clan, Hyuga Hiyashi, also arrived at the battlefield with many Byakugan ninjas. In an instant, the number of ninjas around the battlefield was no less than 1,000. Chapter 14. Ask a question. To use or not to use, Susanoo? Naruto-kun. Hyuga Hinata, who had just followed his clan leader father, Hyuga Hiyashi, to the battlefield here, couldn't help but look at Uzumaki Naruto who was beside Kakashi and the others not far away. That is, looking at the dozens of meters tall blue Susanoo level 3, Hyuga Hiyashi couldn't help but frown. Then, Hokage, the current situation is, the other party is really a legendary ninja.
Hyuga Hiyashi turned around and came to Tsunade Haim and asked hesitantly.
To this, my great-grandfather's only rival, Uchiha Madara. Princess Tsunade spoke as she looked at the blue Susanoo that was dozens of meters tall. At the same time, looking at the thousands of elite ninjas from various families who had come to the battlefield. Everyone, I'm sorry to tell you that the man on the blue Susanoo's head may be the strongest enemy Konoha has encountered in the past 50 years. His name, Uchiha Madara. Whether we can protect Konoha, this time, it depends on the strength of all of us. I saw that Princess Tsunade was trying her best to boost morale at this moment. At the same time, it was also telling the ninjas from the Hyuga clan, Yamanaka clan, Nara clan and many other Konoha clans who had just arrived how critical the current situation was. The legendary ninja, Uchiha Madara, how is that possible? Wasn't he already dead a long time ago? Yes, how can such a strong man still be alive? Besides, that blue monster feels so cold and powerful. Can we really defeat such an enemy? He is a legendary super powerful man who is as famous as the first Hokage, who is called the god of ninja by everyone. After hearing what Princess Tsunade said, countless ninjas at the scene expressed their confusion. Also at this time, with so many rabble coming, I seem to be in a very disadvantageous situation. I saw Roman with his hands clasped in front of his chest, inside the blue Susanoo level 3. However, he said that his situation had become unfavorable. However, what appeared on the corners of his mouth was not sadness, but a sneer of extreme contempt. Roman doesn't take all the ninjas in Konoha seriously at all. Hole. Tsunade also noticed the disdain on Roman's face, and she couldn't help but clench her fists in resentment and unwillingness. At this time, so what if it's the legendary ninja Uchiha Madara? We have many companions around us now, but you are alone. Kakashi walked out from behind a wall and said this in a slightly high-pitched voice. Oh, Roman's smile deepened, and he continued to jokingly say. Is that so? Saying, the next second, Susanoo slowly formed a seal. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The next moment, dozens of identical figures appeared out of thin air beside Roman. And one by one they quickly jumped down from Susanoo and came in front of the Konoha shinobi. Indeed, a full 30 shadow clones of Roman, obviously. Didn't you say I was alone? So, what no, it's shadow clone, why would this damn guy do it too? Naruto said with his eyes wide open. On the side, Uchiha Sasuke was feeling mixed emotions at the moment. Little Sakura looked at the dozens of meters tall Susanoo, her eyes filled with fear. Ask a question, these shadow clones, with or without Susanoo? Inside Susanoo's head, Roman at this time used his Scarlet Mangekyo Sharingan eyes to ask all the Konoha shinobi in front of him with a faint smile. This, Tsunade-ji was shocked when she thought of something. And it seemed to deliberately confirm Tsunade's shocked guess. Swish, 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 30 shadow clones, all bursting with blue power, finally gathered into one blue Susanoo level 3 statue several dozen meters tall. Almost exactly the same as the Susanoo of Roman's original character in the following. And 30, it directly blocks the entire view in front. Only the blue scenery is left. How is this possible? Princess Tsunade, Naruto, Kakashi, Sasuke, Little Sakura, Kurenai Yuhi, Mitarashi Anko, Ino and every Konoha shinobi, all looked incredulous at this moment. Extremely shocked, how can there be so many? This is too exaggerated. During this time, Kakashi couldn't help but want to slap himself in the face. Damn, why did I talk so much just now, to this? Boom 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 boom, the Konoha shinobi were in shock and full of flaws. Would the 30 shadow clones of Roman just sit there and watch? It's just about swinging the sword or throwing the 8-board Magatama. Just start doing it suddenly, the 8-slab Magatama, the sword light of Susanoo Chakra. They are all extremely fast and terrifyingly powerful. In an instant there was a lot of wailing. The sword light of Yoshida's Magatama and Susanoo Chakra took away countless lives at once. Kill 10 Konoha shinobi, and achieve a primary achievement once. Congratulations. Get primary achievement lottery one time. Killed Akamichi Dingzo, achieved a medium achievement once. Congratulations. Medium achievement lottery once. Open black lens bracket behead. Close black lens bracket. Akamichi Dingzo had one arm cut off by Roman's original body. At this moment he fell under the siege of 2 Susanoo level 3s. He fell down after several huge blue chakra swords pierced his enlarged heart. Dosen, not far away, Akamichi Choji, who was also fighting, cried out in sorrow. Hole. The next moment he took the pill and turned into a butterfly and rushed to rescue him. Choji, don't be impulsive, Shikamaru shouted. He was rational and knew that there was no way that he and his genin could fight against a legendary super powerful being like Uchiha Madara. However, Choji has already lost control and cannot be stopped. Boom, the next second, Susanoo easily punched Choji, who had transformed into a butterfly. Although butterfly transformation is powerful, it depends on who you are facing. Cough. The next second, the 3rd level Susanoo continued to swing his sword towards Akamichi Choji. prepared to send the father and son down to meet each other. Choji was already vomiting blood and couldn't dodge. It seems that I will really become a dead soul under Susanoo's sword. Swoosh, a green figure appeared in time and kicked away Susanoo's chakra knife. Exactly. Might Guy, Day Tiger, Roar. Then, Might Guy once again released the super physical technique, Daytime Tiger, under 7th gate. Directly forced Susanoo in front of him to retreat. Saved Akamichi Choji, however, there are 30 Susanoo level 3 on the field now. The Konoha Shinobi are being slaughtered, 8 trigrams Gale Palm. Hyuga Hiyashi and his people are now fighting against so many Susanoo. But it's extremely tiring, *hole. Die, Princess Tsunade kept fighting. However, Susanoo level 3 feat was no longer something she could easily shake. The next second, an 8-barreled Magatama was seen directly inserted into Tsunade's abdomen. If ninja art, meiotic regeneration, hadn't been turned on, Princess Tsunade would have died long ago. They are indeed a bunch of rabble. Roman's real body was looking at them coldly. In this regard, on the side, Might Guy seemed to have made up his mind at this time, and stared at Roman's real body with a firm gaze. Chapter 15. Might Guy 8 gates fully open. Roman blooms Susanoo complete form. At this time, Roman, who was holding his arms across his chest in Susanoo, also noticed the changes in Might Guy at this moment. It seems that you have finally made up your mind. I have to say, I'm looking forward to it. Roman opened his blood-red Mangekyo Sharingan with a smile on his face. The power of the obtained Uchiha Madara is too strong. At this moment, Roman inexplicably longed for an opponent who could truly make him look at him in the face. To this, Kakashi, Might Guy suddenly spoke up not far away, and looked at Kakashi, who was trying his best to fight against Roman's shadow clone Susanoo. Kakashi is now seriously injured, the arms and abdomen were bleeding and injured. But he still insisted on concentrating chakra with other Konoha shinobi and releasing ninjutsu to attack those Susanoo 3rd stage. Then, I suddenly heard the voice of my best friend. Guy. Kakashi also retreated a distance, separating himself from those Susanoo 3rd stage, and looked in the direction of Might Guy in the distance. Kakashi, this time. I win. Might Guy and Kakashi looked at each other and suddenly said this. Might Guy and Kakashi are lifelong rivals. The two of them have been engaged in various long-term competitions. During this period, it can be said that Might Guy lost more than he won. However, Might Guy thinks he should be the winner this time. Guy, what do you want to do? Kakashi had a bad feeling in his heart. Also at this time, Jung, all of Roman's shadow clones, Susanoo level 3, at the scene stopped attacking. Even, whoosh, 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 all disappeared. All chakras returned to Roman's body. Roman knows what Might Guy wants to do. Therefore, of course, it is best to take back all the power in one person as much as possible. Because what we are about to face is very likely to be a 6 paths level physical skill. Even Roman, who possessed the power to create Madara's full combat capability, did not dare to be arrogant in the slightest. At this moment, it can be said that the only person in the entire Konoha who can make Roman feel serious about it. Only Might Guy. So, Roman removed the shadow clones that were teasing many Konoha shinobi. Concentrate all your strength on the main body. This can be considered as a kind of respect for the strongest physical opponent who is about to come. Guy, have you reached that level? Seeing that Roman's shadow clone had disappeared at the scene, Tsunade jumped at the right time and came not far from Might Guy, then looked at Might Guy in front of her with a little surprise and hope. Hokage-sama, please keep everyone at the scene away as much as possible, because Konoha's blue beast wants to bloom all its youth for Konoha. Might Guy, however, has slowly lowered his body and is gathering strength. In this regard, Roman can disturb Might Guy, but Roman didn't. But Roman won't just do nothing. Squeak, suddenly, blood started flowing out of Roman's right eye in Susanoo's head. It turned out that Roman dug out his original, right eye Mangekyo Sharingan. Then, put it into the system's internal space without anyone noticing. At the same time, he performed a simple medical ninjutsu and pressed on the bleeding right eye again. The next second, the medical ninjutsu was put away and Roman's hand moved away. A 3 Magatama Sharingan appeared in the eye socket of the right eye. In this way, Roman's left eye is in the Mangekyo writing state, while his right eye is in the normal 3 Magatama state. It was supposed to take back the power of Shadow Clone and strengthen the main body's combat power, but why did it switch to the normal 3-Tomo Sharingan to reduce its own combat power? Teacher Guy. Here, Xiao Li seemed to understand Might Guy's determination, and looked at his teacher Might Guy with tears in his eyes again. To this, Xiao Li, be brave and carry out your youth. Might Guy glanced in the direction of his own disciples in the distance. Then, under the gaze of countless Konoha shinobi from all directions. 8 inner gates formation, 8th gate, Death Gate, open. Might Guy roared as he gathered all his strength. Boom! In an instant, blood-red steam exploded. Might Guy seemed to have turned into a bloody man with blood steam all over his body, looking as hideous as if he had been roasted. Teacher Guy, Xiao Li burst into tears, Zheng Hu. At this time, the powerful chakra erupting from Might Guy continued to vibrate the air, forming strong winds one after another. Sweeping in all directions, Guy. While raising his hands to block the strong wind, Kakashi looked at the blood-red figure with shock. In Chunon's mind, he could not stop recalling the scene when he and his father first met Might Guy as a child. At that time, Kakashi's father, Hatake Tsukumo, said at the time, Might Guy will definitely become a very powerful ninja in the future. Little Kakashi at that time didn't take it seriously. But, at this moment, father, you are right. Kakashi's eyes were now filled with admiration and amazement. This power, Hyuga Hiyashi, Hyuga Neji, Hyuga Hinata and many other members of the Hyuga clan who had Byakugan opened their Byakugan at this moment, and then, one by one, they looked at Might Guy with blood-red steam bursting out of his body in amazement. Guy, Tsunade-ji looked at him with admiration. At the same time, I feel deeply regretful, because we know what will happen after the 8 inner gates opens the 8th gate. But this chakra is really too powerful. Even the legendary ninja Uchiha Madara could not defeat Might Guy, who was unleashing absolute power at the cost of his life at this moment. To this chakra, this blood-red steam. I recognize you as a Guy, then let's dance. Roman, who was in the 3rd level of Susanoo, felt inexplicably excited at this moment. Jong, the next moment, Roman's left eye, Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, suddenly opened. I will also fight hard, boom, suddenly, Roman's, Susanoo level 3 feet suddenly grew larger. Finally, it turned into a bloated Susanoo with a body size of more than 80 meters. At the scene, countless Konoha shinobi were stunned. However, it's not over yet, certainly. Roman slowly smiled and clenched his right fist. Shua, Jung, the bloated Susanoo state suddenly grew in size, and even appeared in the shape of blue armor. Until the end, the Susanoo complete form, that appeared in the original drama stands in front of every Konoha shinobi. Chapter 16 Roman's excitement. Because now Roman only has one, Eternal Mangekyo. So at this moment, Susanoo complete form, is only about 130 meters. It's not over 200 meters like in the original drama, Uchiha Madara. But, compared to the Susanoo 3rd stage, which was only about 40 meters long just now, the Susanoo complete form, at this time is already large enough. It can be said that it has skyrocketed more than 3 times. So big. Princess Tsunade, at this moment, looked at the complete form of Susanoo in front of her with an expression of disbelief. This, Kakashi, Nara Shikaku, Yuhi Kurenai, Mitarashi Anko and countless other elite ninjas of Konoha were all stunned.
This power gap, too big. Uchiha Madara, is he still really human?
Yuhi Kurenai couldn't help but murmur to herself. Is this the strongest person our clan once was? Such power, if I had such power. Uchiha Sasuke's eyes widened. I long to possess such a powerful force, then, take revenge on that man. It's as terrifying as a tailed beast, Hyuga Hiyashi couldn't help but exclaim. So-called wisdom seems too powerless in the face of absolute strength. Nara Shikaku clenched his fists with a look of unwillingness and helplessness. Orochimaru is nothing compared to this guy. Mitarashi Anko couldn't help but sigh with a confused look on his face. As a former disciple of Orochimaru, Mitarashi Anko certainly knows how terrifying Orochimaru's strength is. Especially since Orochimaru had planned the invasion of Konoha not long ago. It even led to the death of the old man 3rd Hokage, the strongest Hokage in history. This kind of Orochimaru has an extremely terrifying sense of oppression. However, looking at the more than 130-meter tall, Susanoo complete form, in front of him at this moment. Anko, who is Orochimaru, at this time? Also in Konoha village, on the roof of a building far away from the battlefield. That is, Shimura Danzo, with a large group of root ninjas, was watching the battlefield from a distance. At this moment, Danzo saw the terrifyingly huge, Susanoo complete form. At that moment, even I, Shimura Danzo, this old B*********************, couldn't believe it. And behind him, the group of root ninjas were all stunned at this time. 2 faces and 4 arms, it's really the legendary. By now, Danzo had to believe that the legendary ninja Ashura, Uchiha Madara, had really been resurrected. As one of the former disciples of the second Hokage, Senju Tobirama, Shimura Danzo certainly knew something about the legendary Uchiha Madara. At least, have seen the drawings of the legendary Uchiha Madara's Susanoo. At last, on the battlefield, Might Guy, whose 8-gate was fully opened, was staring at Roman in front of him with his whole body flushed. Then, boom, Might Guy rushed out. The target is Roman in Susanoo complete form. Everyone, retreat, temporarily withdraw from the battlefield. At this moment, Tsunade reacted and remembered Might Guy's request to ask everyone to stay away from the battlefield. He immediately turned around and shouted to all the Konoha shinobi around him. Guy. Kakashi glanced at his best friend's blood-red back as he walked forward courageously. In the end, Kakashi chose to trust his longtime rival and best friend, Might Guy. Soon, countless Konoha shinobi began to retreat quickly and temporarily leave the battlefield. To this, come on, please me, Roman's left eye eternal Mangekyo Sharingan burst out with powerful scarlet pupil power and he laughed fiercely. Then, with a thought, the huge Susanoo complete form faced 8-gate Guy head-on. At the same time, in Susanoo, Roman quickly formed 3 seals with his hands. Jung, a certain technique was activated. Almost at the same time, Susanoo's huge fist clashed with 8-gate Guy. But, Shishyong, boom, the huge fist of Susanoo's complete form shattered. During this time, Evening Elephant erupted with a violent gust of wind, which instantly tore apart more than 100 meters of land under Susanoo's feet. Hey, it's worthy of the power beneath the blood-red steam. Roman still had a smile on his face and showed no sign of panic. The next second, he directly infused his eye power and chakra into restoring Susanoo's complete form's fist. But, boom 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 boom, 8-gate Guy didn't stop at all. Instead, he didn't dare to give Roman any time to react. He continued to bombard the complete form of Susanoo with countless terrible kicks. Crack, in the end, even the complete form of Susanoo had many cracks and some parts were even severely damaged. You Guy, haha, there was an inexplicable excitement on Roman's face. 8-gate Guy's Evening Elephant is already so powerful. What if it's Night Guy? It's really shocking and inexplicably exciting. Period. Teacher Thick Eyebrows, SG, Uzumaki Naruto couldn't help but exclaim when he saw that 8-gate Guy could actually suppress the perfect form of Susanoo that was as big as a tailed beast. I can't see his movements at all. Uchiha Sasuke opened his Scarlet Sharingan, but was completely unable to capture the figure of Might Guy in his current state. Guy, show us what you call the power of youth. Kakashi's eyes were full of recognition and trust in his best friend. Guy, break that B******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* loudly through the air with her fists clenched. Now, snap, Might Guy, however, felt as if his bones were being torn apart by a powerful force, as if cracks appeared in his bones. With the 8 gates fully open, the burden is indeed extremely heavy. Therefore, Might Guy was in pain, and his movements became a little slow. In this regard, Roman immediately seized the opportunity. You should be able to continue dancing, right? Don't let me down, Jung. The pupil power and chakra surged wildly, and all the broken parts of Susanoo's complete form were instantly restored. At the same time, clang boom, the complete Susanoo sword was suddenly pulled out. A slash with the sword, it was like a ray of aurora, flickering between the sky and the earth, and among the leaves. Zan Shang 8-gate guy. Shixiang, 8-gate guy did not hide, but kicked out Yuga again in order to protect Konoha as much as possible. Suddenly, boom, 2 extremely powerful forces collided. It was like a nuclear explosion. The mushroom cloud appeared. The powerful shock wave shook the complete form of Susanoo so much that it couldn't help but retreat continuously. Ha ha ha. Happy, you've got me getting the same blood-boiling feeling I had when I fought Hasalama. Come and continue to please me. After stabilizing the complete form of Susanoo, Roman's face was full of crazy fighting spirit. On the other side, 8-Gate Guy's face was full of pain. He is almost at his limit, even Shi Shang can't do it. So, Chapter 17, I would like to call you the strongest. As expected, it's Red's team. Haha, you should be able to continue dancing, right? Come on. Keep pleasuring me. After stabilizing Susanoo's complete form, Roman's face was filled with crazy fighting spirit. At the same time, the part of Susanoo's complete form that had just been kicked apart by Shi Shang was quickly restored to its original state as Roman's mind moved and his chakra and pupil power were released powerfully. Damn it, how can we not kill him even with this? At this moment, Princess Tsunade among the crowd was extremely shocked. Might Guy has already opened up 8-Gate to its full extent. I still can't do anything about that D Uchiha Madara. The legendary ninja, the former Shira of the ninja world, Uchiha Madara, is so powerful and terrifying. What methods and strength did grandfather use to suppress such a terrifying opponent? Tsunade-ji felt completely powerless. Facing the legendary ninja Uchiha Madara, even Princess Tsunade, who was once known as the Sannin of Konoha and has now become the 5th Hokage, felt a deep sense of powerlessness. Uchiha Madara, really, too strong. This kind of fight is simply. On the side, Uchiha Sasuke, Uzumaki Naruto and Haruno Sakura all had expressions of surprise and shock on their faces. It's true that the battle between Roman and 8-Gate Guy just now was really shocking. Whether it's Roman's perfect Susanoo or 8-Gate Guy's Shi Shang, the visual impact is top-notch among the top ones. Until then, Uchiha Sasuke, Uzumaki Naruto, and Haruno Sakura, the 3 Konoha genins, couldn't even imagine that there was someone in this world who could be a ninja with such strong power. This is a power that surpasses the Hokage, right?
So amazing. Only, this enemy is most likely the legendary Uchiha Madara, who at this moment appears to be completely unharmed and is standing opposite the over 100-meter tall Susanoo in its complete form.
Giving everyone present a sense of despair, the legendary ninja Uchiha Madara, the patriarch of the Hyuga clan Hyuga Hiyashi, looked at Roman who had instantly recovered his Susanoo form, his eyes full of amazement. It is said that if one opens all the 8 gates, one can instantly possess power that surpasses that of the Hokage. However, the opponent was still safe and sound when facing Might Guy with 8-Gate fully activated. Strong, too strong, they can't contend with such an enemy at all. Even the Hyuga clan, who have the Byakugan, seem too insignificant at this moment. Hayate, I'm sorry, I can't even avenge you. At this time, Mao Yu Shiyan couldn't help but kneel down and cry. Roman is so powerful. Mao Yu Shiyan knew that even if she tried her best until her death, she would never have the strength to fight him. Look at Susanoo's complete form, it is simply, God. That is simply not a power that a mortal can possess. Mao Yu Shiyan knew that she could not avenge Moonlight Gale.
Having the same feeling were Yuhi Kurenai, Nara Shikamaru, Yamanaka Ino, and Akamichi Choji, who were looking at Asuma's body not far away.
Roman first killed Yuan Fei Asuma, then killed Akamichi Dingzuo. Completely became the mortal enemy of the entire Konoha. If Shi Shang is useless, then we can only use the last trick. The Might Guy, with 8 gates fully opened, rested for more than 10 seconds, then stood in front of Roman with his fists clenched again. Ha ha ha, Roman laughed crazily as Susanoo completed her form. Good, very good. At this moment, Roman seemed to have met an opponent for the first time in his life. What is displayed is a crazy fighting spirit, Guy. Far behind, Kakashi looked worriedly at the back of his best friend Might Guy, whose body was covered with blood-red steam. Kakashi knew that his best friend, Might Guy, was ready to fight to the death. And the 8 gate was fully open. Guy's death was already doomed. Product. The next second, Might Guy was seen bending slightly. Jung-hoo, a large amount of blood red immediately emerged behind 8 gate Guy. Even, it quickly condensed into a huge blood-red dragon head. Teacher Guy. Xiao Li looked at his mentor in shock. 8 inner gates formation. Night Guy, 8 gate Guy's last roar in his life. Roar, behind him, the blood-red dragon of Night Guy immediately opened its bloody mouth and let out a long roar towards the sky. Boom, an extremely strong aura spread out in all directions around. Is there a move more powerful than Yu Shang? Princess Tsunade couldn't believe it. This power, Guy, this time, I lose. Kakashi couldn't help but sigh sadly. I know in my heart that after this time, my best friend will definitely fall. But seeing such terrifying power, Guy fell down. Then the legendary ninja Uchiha Madara, there is no way he is still alive. Because this night Guy feels 100 times stronger than the evening image just now. And just now, Shi Shang almost completely broke the opponent's Susanoo complete form. This time, we can definitely defeat the enemy. That Guy actually possesses such terrifying strength. Mitarashi Enko's face was full of amazement and admiration. Guy, please, kill that devil, Azuki Yugao shouted loudly. Guy, today everyone in Konoha has witnessed your strongest power. The enemy in front of us. I'm counting on you. Princess Tsunade also stepped forward and shouted loudly. Hearing this, drink, 8-Gate Guy gathered all his blood and energy. Boom, the blood-red dragon head, which was already extremely huge, actually grew to another level larger. Roar, the blood dragon roared even more powerfully. At this time, this force, ha ha ha, I fully recognize your strength. Among all the opponents I've fought in my memory, I would like to call you the best in physical skills. In the complete form of Susanoo, Roman at this moment felt a hint of death. But Roman was not afraid, instead he was crazy excited. Because he knew, he couldn't die, Night Guy. The next second, 8-Gate Guy and the bloody dragon head merged into one. Then, carrying the huge blood-red dragon head, it rushed towards Roman who was in the complete form of Susanoo in front of him with surging and murderous aura. Roman will not sit idly by. Just when he wanted to swing the huge Susanoo, he found that the entire Susanoo was stuck and difficult to drive. The space is the same as in the original drama, distorted? Roman took a look at the situation around him and saw that the space around Susanoo's complete form was indeed distorted. No wonder Susanoo has a hard time taking any action. Roar, at this moment, Night Guy appeared in front of Susanoo's complete form. Chapter 18, the back mountain of Konoha split into two. Boom, the next moment, Night Guy kicked Susanoo perfect form, and with a loud noise. Susanoo's complete form shattered directly, at the same time. Bang, the moment Susanoo's complete form collapsed, Roman, who was originally inside the tall Susanoo, was immediately kicked and could no longer avoid it. Wow, immediately, Roman vomited a mouthful of blood. During this period, Roman's entire body seemed to be broken. And this happened almost in a split second. However, the power of Night Guy has not ended yet. He actually kicked Roman directly and rushed forward. In the end, there was a huge earthquake like a bolt from the blue, and in the end, everyone at the scene was shocked to see, all the rock statues of the original Hokage-sama have disappeared. Roman had only destroyed Senju Hashirama and slightly damaged some of the rock statues of several other Hokage, but had not completely destroyed them. But at this moment, they disappeared completely. And, at the original location, a super chasm appeared with a width of about 80 meters, a depth of over 100 meters, and a length of over 1,000 meters. Indeed, the super groove kicked out by Night Guy. This, at the scene, countless people were dumbfounded. In the entire Konoha, no matter whether they were ninjas or civilians, everyone looked at the huge ravine in amazement and stupefaction. 8 inner gates and 8 gate fully opened, are they so powerful? In the dark, Shimura Danzo and a group of root ninjas were all extremely shocked at this time. The back mountain of Konoha, it was literally split in two. Guy, Kakashi was also very shocked. But after reacting, Kakashi immediately jumped up and prepared to save Might Guy. Although I know, Might Guy is beyond saving, Kakashi also wants to find a close friend immediately. Everyone, Princess Tsunade also reacted immediately, and then waved her jade hand and ordered. If Uchiha Madara is not dead yet, kill him, and find and try your best to save our Konoha's hero, Might Guy. Yes, Lord Hokage, a Konoha shinobi immediately responded excitedly. The next moment, countless ninjas were seen rushing towards the back mountain of Konoha. This includes Sasuke Uchiha, Naruto Uzumaki, Sakura Haruno, Ino Yamanaka, Kakuma Nara, Shikamaru Nara and countless other Konoha shinobi. Even some brave civilians couldn't help but go over to see the final battlefield situation for the first time. At this moment, countless people admired and even worshipped Might Guy, who had just fully opened 8 gate and looked invincible. Everyone wants to welcome back their hero of Konoha at this moment. Only, soon after a group of ninjas quickly jumped, arrived at, and even entered the huge ravine that split the back mountain in two. Everyone saw from a distance an unbelievable scene at the end of the huge ravine. I almost got killed by you just now, haha. Roman, wearing a red armor and with waist-length hair fluttering in the wind, was holding a sickle weapon and laughing evilly. And everyone saw that the sickle blade in his hand completely pierced through Might Guy's heart. During this time, Might Guy's entire body was charred like charcoal. It was indeed that after the 8 gates of the 8 inner gates were fully opened, almost all of the vitality in my body was drained away. Then, after being pierced through the heart by Roman, Might Guy completely lost his last breath of life. Guy, Kakashi, who arrived here first, looked unwilling to believe what was happening before his eyes. How could this be? Princess Tsunade couldn't help but take a step back in surprise and disbelief. The figure is a little staggering. I couldn't help but feel a sense of despair in my heart. Why couldn't Night Guy's terrifying moves kill Uchiha Madara in front? How strong is this man? Might Guy just opened 8 inner gates and 8 gate. That is a power that surpasses the Hokage dozens of times in an instant. Even this is not enough to kill the legendary ninja Uchiha Madara. Even look at the other party at this moment, still wearing red armor and long flowing hair. He is still completely unharmed. How is this possible? He is not a human, he is a demon. Azuki Yugao, the sword in her hand, seemed to have no strength to hold it, and finally fell to the ground at her feet. It is just like the mood of countless people at this moment, falling into despair after their hopes were just shattered. How could the thick-browed teacher who was so powerful just now, Uzumaki Naruto, was a little self-doubting at this moment. Is this my Uchiha's true power? Uchiha Sasuke looked at Roman, whose sickle was still piercing Might Guy's heart, with a look of longing. Urtsutsu is now in the period when he is most eager to gain power. Looking at Roman like this, Urtsutsu longed to become as strong as him. Such power can definitely kill that man. At this time, looking at the Might Guy who had already died in front of him, Roman slowly pulled the sickle out of the opponent's heart at the right time. His heart was broken, but Might Guy only had a few thin streams of blood flowing out of his body. It was indeed the Night Guy, just now, that drained too much of Might Guy's vitality and blood. Congratulations, you killed 8-Gate Guy, and achieved a super achievement. Congratulations on getting Super Achievement Lottery 1 time. Temporary division of achievement and lottery levels, beginner, intermediate, advanced, and super. In this regard, Roman glanced at the system prompt in the void that only he could see. A super lucky draw? It's really a big surprise? Just smile and pass it by. Then, you are a worthy opponent. I have to admit, your strength just now was enough to kill me. But, Roman murmured softly as he looked at the fallen Might Guy with 1 Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan and 1 3-Tomo Sharingan open. It was at this time, whoosh, the originally scarlet pupil of Roman's right eye, 3-Tomo Sharingan, suddenly turned gray. Lost the light? Do you think I would just come to Konoha without any plans? After Roman said these words to himself at last. Puff, he dug out the 3-Tomo Sharingan that had lost its sight from his right eye and threw it away. Teacher Guy. At this moment, Xiao Li also impulsively opened the 8 inner gates. Then, he rushed straight towards Roman, who was wearing red armor. Oh, Roman, who had just taken out the original right eye, Eternal Mangekyo, from the system's internal space, had not yet installed it on himself when he saw Xiao Li rushing towards him aggressively. Ha, Roman sneered. Chapter 19, The Eternal Mangekyo That Cannot Be Closed. Bang, a powerful blue Susanoo emerged and swung its giant arms violently. Just knock Xiao Li back. Xiao Li, Uzumaki Naruto, Tenten, and Neji stepped forward to support Xiao Li, who was knocked back. On the other side, protected by the Susanoo second stage, that appeared in the skeleton, Roman took out the right eye Eternal Mangekyo that he had just taken out from the system space without any hurry. Using relatively rough medical techniques, it was replaced in the original right eye socket. Jung, instantly, both Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan were gathered. The extremely powerful pupil power and chakra suddenly surged and burst out around Roman. 9 Tails, it's time to put your collar on. With a pair of extremely evil scarlet eyes of Eternal Mangekyo, Roman seemed to see the Kurama sealed in the little ghost's body through Uzumaki Naruto. This eye power. Damn motor, he has regained the power from that time. 9 Tails was furious. Afterwards, 9 Tails talked to Uzumaki Naruto. Get out of here, little brat. Do you hear me? No, there's no way I can leave Konoha at this moment. I want to become the Hokage, I won't run away. Uzumaki Naruto was determined. You stupid, self-righteous brat. Kurama was so angry that he wanted to cry. It is obvious that these Konoha ninjas have no ability to compete with Madara. If he doesn't leave now, Kurama will definitely be taken as a pet by Madara again like he did in the past. My medical ninjutsu is indeed not enough. Roman felt that he could no longer close the eternal Mangekyo in his right eye. Obviously, the meridian connection of the right eye is not perfect, which means that Roman's right eye, eternal Mangekyo, has to remain open all the time. In this regard, a medical genius, Tsunade, perhaps you could be of some use to me. Roman suddenly glanced in the direction of Tsunade-ji, with the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Remember, there seems to be Ashura's flesh and blood in the system's internal space, right? There is no doubt that it contains the Ashura chakra. If you want to get it, the woman named Tsunade Heim might come in handy. Only, it was obvious that this woman would not obey. No, that's not right, she will be obedient. If I use that ability, it should be possible. It just requires a little planning, but it should be soon, and it's all under control. We can capture him first. The next second, Roman removed Susanoo's second level and began to slowly step forward holding a sickle weapon. Ta-da-da! Princess Tsunade and the other Konoha shinobi walked towards the exit of the huge ravine. At this moment, Roman's first goal, to control Tsunade-ji. Everyone be careful. In response to this, as the fifth Hokage, Princess Tsunade stood in front of everyone at this time. Hokage-sama, Nara Shikaku, Hyuga Hiyashi, Mitarashi Anko, Yuhi Kurenai, Azuki Yugao and many other Konoha shinobi looked at Princess Tsunade in front of them. Then, at worst, you'll just die. B******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** took a step forward and came to Tsunade Heim. Even though I am not strong enough, I will try my best to take revenge on you, AB***************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************It was Mao Yu Shi Yan. For our village, Konoha, finally, Nara Shikaku, Yamanaka Hiei, Hyuga Neji, Hyuga Hinata, Yuhi Kurenai, Akamichi Choji, Nara Shikamaru and other Konoha shinobi all stepped forward and stood beside Princess Tsunade. Roman paused. It seemed a little surprising that the Konoha ninjas had not yet despaired and still had the courage to resist him at this moment. Did you see that? This is the strongest power we inherited from our great-grandfather, the will of fire, damn it, motor. At this moment, Princess Tsunade clenched her fists proudly. Is that so? Roman regained his indifferent look, but it seems, the first person to be dealt with should indeed be you, the so-called fifth Hokage. Shua, after saying that, Roman dodged and rushed to the opposite side the next second. As fast as lightning, during this period, some Anbu ninjas actually came forward to obstruct Roman's steps. Bang bang bang, puff, Roman was like a red rose on the battlefield, constantly flying among the many Konoha Anbu ninjas, and the sickle weapon in his hand kept taking away lives. Even a random punch or kick can kill many Konoha Anbu ninjas. Reikari, Kakashi also attacked Roman from the side with thunder in his hand. In response, Roman easily dodged Kakashi's Reikari by turning sideways. Suddenly, bang bang bang, several ninja dogs came out from the ground. They were Kakashi's summoning beast, Parker and other ninja dogs. They pounced on Roman at this time. What a trick! Roman kicked Kakashi away, then he slashed with the sickle in his hand. Puff puff puff, all the ninja dogs turned into white mist and disappeared. Dog blood is dripping on the ground, Parker. Kakashi, who was kicked away, got up with difficulty. Tsunade kicked Roman from above, bang. Roman blocked it with the handle of the sickle in his hand, and the ground beneath his feet suddenly collapsed. But when Tsunade landed, bang, Roman's chakra gathered in his legs wearing ninja boots, and he kicked back at Princess Tsunade. Although Tsunade blocked with both hands in time, she was still blown away by Roman's extraordinary strength, which was no weaker than hers. At this moment, a cold light came from behind Roman, who had just defeated Princess Tsunade. Go straight to the fatal point on the back of his head. In response, Roman tilted his head slightly and dodged. Then, he turned around as fast as lightning, despair. The big hand wearing a brown glove easily grabbed the other person's throat. Roman saw that the other person was actually a woman. Purple hair. That's Suzuki's evening face. Do you want to dance too? Roman said lightly. Devil. Mao Yu Shiyan, like the moonlight gale just now, swung the sword in her hand towards Roman, who was right in front of her in a dying struggle. But it was as if history was replaying itself as Roman caught the flying sword. Immediately, puff, he directly penetrated into Izuki Yugo's abdomen with his backhand. Immediately, blood began to flow, swift wind. There was a lot of pain between Mao Yu Shiyan's eyebrows. In response, Roman threw the beautiful woman in his hand away. On the side, Kakashi and many other ninjas could only stare and watch. It was too late to save them. You guys, the way you struggle to death is so ugly. Chapter 20. You are just a woman. Fire-style dragon fire technique, times N. At this time, a dozen Konoha shinobi on the side simultaneously released fire-style ninjutsu towards Roman in front. In response to this, Roman, who had just ruthlessly destroyed the beautiful Izuki Yugao, glanced coldly with his scarlet eyes of eternal Mangekyo. Another trick of showing off one's proficiency before an expert. He didn't even bother to activate Susanoo to defend himself. Shua, the next second, another weapon besides the sickle was taken out from the system's internal space. Exactly, Uchiha fan, and whoosh, more than a dozen dragon fire techniques, all absorbed. Next, flip the Uchiha fan, Uchiha, milkshake. Boom, bounce back with even more violent fire-style power. In an instant, dozens of Konoha shinobi were killed. At this moment, Roman holds a sickle in one hand and an Uchiha fan in the other. Two classic weapons in hand, invincible momentum. Bang 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 bang. What followed was another one-sided massacre. Kill 10 Konoha shinobi, and achieve a primary achievement once. Congratulations. Get primary achievement lottery one time. Killed 20 Konoha shinobi, and achieved the primary achievement twice. Congratulations on getting primary achievement lottery twice. Open black lens bracket. Kill. Close black lens bracket. Roman has transformed into a demon and Shira on the battlefield. Crazy slaughter of living beings. It was as if all life in front of him had turned into some data and a tool for winning the achievement lottery. Just like the real ninja Shira, Uchiha Madara, from the Sengoku era. Even worse than Uchiha Madara in the original drama. Madala. UB******************* D. Watching Roman continuously slaughtering the Konoha shinobi, at this moment, Princess Tsunade once again used all her strength to launch a painting-Q kick with a look of anger on her face. In this regard, Roman just beheaded another Anbu ninja, then turned around and punched with extremely smooth movements. Boom, fists and kicks. Roman's punch was not at all inferior. How can I repair it? Seeing that the opponent actually took her painful kick with one punch, Tsunade was shocked, angry, and full of resentment. But before Tsunade can continue with other actions, boom, Roman directly grabbed her right ankle, and then slammed her to the ground without any mercy. In an instant, the entire ground sank into an extremely huge pit. The shock wave blew away many surrounding ninjas. At this moment, even in the state of ninja art, meiotic regeneration of the 100 skills technique, Tsunade couldn't help but groan slightly in pain from being hit in the mouth. Expansion Jutsu. There is a ninja from the Akamichi clan, who has grown to a gigantic size and is about to come forward to rescue Princess Tsunade. Roman didn't even look at it and just calmly sealed his mouth. The next second, more than a dozen shadow clone Roman appeared one by one from the side. And, whoosh whoosh, each shadow clone released powerful blue chakra, condensing into Susanoo's second stage. In this way, all Konoha shinobi, including the Akamichi clan, are blocked from approaching. Just then, bang, Princess Tsunade suddenly attacked Roman with a heavy punch, but Roman leaned sideways and blocked it with one hand. He grabbed Tsunade's fair wrist, preventing her from retreating. Princess Tsunade activated her chakra and used her extraordinary strength to try to break free. But she found that Roman's strength was greater than hers, and she couldn't pull back her fist at all. I told you, the only one who can slightly suppress me is Hasalama, and you are just a woman. At this moment, Roman was staring at Princess Tsunade with contempt. In addition, when fighting with her, Roman temporarily put the weapon back into the system's internal space. During this time, Tsunade saw it and was also surprised, but now is not the time to care about it. Shut up, Tsunade was angry because of Roman's words. He immediately raised his other fist and wanted to continue attacking Roman, who was right in front of him. But, boom, she had just raised her fist, but before it fell, Roman's iron fist wearing a brown glove had already hit her stomach heavily. Puff! Princess Tsunade instantly bent over and vomited blood. Although Baihao technique heals injuries quickly, it is not as fast as the ferocity of Roman's punch. Hokage-sama, many Konoha shinobi around, including Kakashi, Hyuga Hiyashi, Nara Shikaku, etc., spoke out in worry. However, all of Chen Yi's dozen shadow clones released Susanoo level 2 feet and defended tightly. For a moment, no one could break in and rescue Princess Tsunade. Too weak. Is this the so-called fifth Hokage? I saw that Roman had grabbed Tsunade's throat, lifted her up with a painful look on her face, and then looked at her with a mocking look. The severe pain in his stomach made Tsunade speechless. Looking at the pair of scarlet, eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, in Roman's eyes right in front of him, Tsunade couldn't help but feel a chill. To this. Next, I might need you, so, do as Nine Tails does, surrender. Roman slowly raised 2 fingers and opened a pair of eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. He is indeed preparing to use the illusion of eternal Mangekyo on Princess Tsunade in order to control her. At this moment, even Tsunade couldn't help but feel an inexplicable fear in her heart. Big Ball, Rasengan, suddenly, with a shout, a swift figure came with a powerful attack and hit Roman. In response, Roman was just about to use Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan to control Tsunade, although he didn't expect that someone could bypass the obstruction of his shadow clone. But when the opponent's attack finally fell on himself, Roman still released the blue Susanoo skeleton in an instant. Defended, of course, Roman was still pushed a long distance away by the sudden attack inside Susanoo.